Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, Guerrilla Cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket.
Good afternoon, welcome to Guerrilla Cricket, day 3 of the second test between the West Indies and England in Antigua. West Indies are 85 runs ahead with 4 wickets still in hand, and they'll be looking to grind England into the dust in this first session. I'm Andy Ward, get it quietly, joined on my left by Taz.
Hello.
And on my right by Nakul.
Hi Andy, hi Taz, hello everybody. Yes, the West Indies batted really well yesterday on a pretty tricky pitch that's doing all sorts up and down, and laterally Jason Holder and in particular Darren Bravo, who batted most of the way through the day, playing the slowest innings by number 4 since the great A.B. de Villiers Stonewall in Nagpur of a few years ago. But the West Indies did really well. England could easily have had the West Indies out for 150 yesterday.
Well, this was the impression I had. Didn't see any of it. I don't have Sky at home, so I can't give you ball-by-ball expertise on the last 2 days. But this is what I was picking up off the Twitter, that Broad in particular was rather unlucky, that England dropped a few catches, that a few edges went and miscues dropped into space.
Over 100 play and misses yesterday.
Yes, I saw a stat that West Indies played more false shots in their innings than England did. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I guess you got to have the fielders to back that up.
Yeah, certainly I think the catch that Josh Buttler dropped was one that he absolutely should have caught. But the point about luck is that I think the West Indies have done really well. They've capitalised on the bits of luck that they have been given, or not been given, but have encountered along the way.
Have happened, yes. And I understand the openers are leaving the ball very well, which makes a difference. And as we see, West Indies 272 for 6. Darren Bravo is on 33. Jason Holder's there on, 10 or so? Something like
that? Yes, Jason Holder is on. If we go to Crick Info. Yeah, he batted quite well yesterday in tricky conditions with the second new ball and with Moeen Ali. We do have a little bit of sad news overnight that Alzari Joseph, the West Indian fast bowler, his mother has passed away overnight. He's still going to play in this game, but we see the black armbands are in force.
Yes, that's very sad news.
Super sad. He's only young.
He is. He's a very young man. He's just playing his 7th test, his second on comeback. So yeah, our thoughts to the Joseph family, particularly to Alzari himself and to all of his friends and family.
In the meantime, the batsmen are on their way out. I think we can see who has the new ball. It was the pick of England's bowlers yesterday.
Most certainly, here he is.
What would make Broad walk?
If his stumps were knocked down,
What would make Broad walk?
caught 5 feet off the ground.
What would make Broad walk?
If he trod on his
What would
stumps,
make Broad walk?
if God was one of the
What
arms,
would make Broad walk?
Broad walk.
What Broad?
And he'll be bowling to this man who's on 19.
Jason Holder. Jason Holder. Jason Holder.
Does that just go on forever? Is it just gonna disappear into the distance there? Has anyone joined us on the Twitter there, Taz?
Oh my god, we have a tweet from a really cool person, if I do say so myself. A Miss Tasneem Summer Khan has just tweeted, if you're not listening to Gorilla Cricket and the genius jingles from our musicians extraordinaire, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing, guys?
Yeah, we're also live on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Crick Tracker, our friends out there in India on Crick Tracker. So watch there, share the feed in your Facebook streams, and leave us some comments, please.
Stuart Broad's lining it up then. He's got 3 slips, 3 men in the ring on the offside, a mid on, a square leg, and a long leg. 272 for 6. And we're just waiting for umpire Dharmasena to give him the go-ahead, and that looks like the international signal for go-ahead and bowl. Broad still making them wait just a little bit, though. His thick white wristband on his left arm. Here he comes now into Holder. And that's a fairly easy loosener outside the off-stump. The Holder lets it go through to the keeper.
Yeah, a little bit of swing, but a little bit too wide. Jason Holder far too disciplined to be having a go at that first ball of the day.
Broad 3 for 42. I was listening to the switch hit the other day, and I know it was in hindsight, but I thought Mark Butcher made a good point. He said the reason he should have been playing Broad ahead of Curran is because of his height. That Curran is a much more pitch it up and swing bowler, where a bowler like Broad's going to be more effective when you can get some steepling bounce every now and then. Yeah,
it was a point our guest Gladstone Small was making in the first test as well.
Another one, Stuart Broad really taking a while to warm up. Those look very gentle and loopy, but it's outside off stump and Holder lets it go again.
But yeah, he there's been a lot of life out of the just sort of 6 inches either side of a good length from this pitch. Not so much when you've been banging it in short, and there's been a little bit of swing, but mostly quite slow. But there's if you can kind of hit that length, it's tricky to play. I mean, the ball's been there's been a couple in each innings of the dismissals of Joe Root.
Root, yes.
And I'm trying to remember who the other one. Well, Roston Chase got one that rolled along the floor.
Grubber, yep.
Shane Dowrich got one that spat on him and took the top glove.
Most of the Windies batsmen put up at least 30 before they did succumb in this innings. Pitched up and Holder does have a drive for that one. It's beaten backward points left hand. I think he's going to reel it in though. It's not the fastest of outfields. He does just about. And Butler's back there to help him with the throw. And that looked like only 2. I thought there might have been 3 there.
Yeah, we see Johnny Bairstow behind the stumps because Ben Folkes is still suffering the after effects of that hand injury. We do understand that it's just bruising, it's not a fracture. And that he will be able to bat in the second innings.
A question that was raised, though, is why is Butler not keeping?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, particularly if Bairstow is going to be batting 3.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, Joss Butler's the better wicketkeeper anyway.
As well, yes.
Did you guys see those interesting stats from Cricket Prof, though?
No, regarding Bairstow.
No, regarding Butler's drops.
Oh, in the field, yes. Oh, beats the outside edge of that one time, Broad. A little indeterminate prod there by Holder. He's a bit annoyed with himself, and rightly so. But no danger, no damage.
Yeah, he does drop a fair few that you wouldn't expect him to. I mean, I remember when I first saw him as a wicketkeeper in the England side, he was one of those guys who would always take the flyers, but then would occasionally drop them when they were straight at him. There's no lack of athleticism, but just, I don't know, little bits of concentration or just that's a quirk of his game. But that's the other thing. Johnny Bairstow is a fantastic outfielder. Yes,
he is, but you really, I think, should be picking people for their strengths. Broad's in again. That one swings in a little bit and takes the inside half of Holder's bat. As a result, it's squeezed between mid-wicket and mid-on, and they pick up a single. It's 275 for 6.
But as friend of Gorilla Cricket, Anna Forsyth said to me yesterday, the ginger sulk cannot be underestimated.
The ginger sulk indeed. Darren Bravo's now going to face up. We've got a jingle for him.
We do indeed. How well has he batted? 33 off 165.
Stuart Broad legitimately appears to be wearing a sports bra, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Legitimately appears to be wearing a sports bra.
I think it's a tracker.
Yeah.
It's housing a tracker.
Well, that makes a lot more sense, actually, than a sports bra.
No, I have seen this before, kind of through their shirts. They do look a lot like sports bras. Whether they're all wearing them or just some of the bowlers, not sure, but he comes round the wicket to Bravo, a bit too far down leg, and he's able to clip that down to long leg, and I'm still waiting for a fielder to turn up. Moeen turns up eventually, so they should pick up at least 2 more there.
He did seem to be somewhat coming from another channel.
Yeah, he's almost coming from the next room. Anyway, that's the end of the over, 277 for 6. So is there anyone apart from us on the Twitter?
There are people joining us. Good morning, Evil Scootus. He says, good morning, Andy, Taz, and Knuckle. I've had a long day, but enjoyable, hoping to catch an hour before I succumb to my increasingly heavy eyelids. Thankfully, the scary moment involving Karunaratne today didn't appear to result in a super-duper serious injury. Yes, I think everyone's grateful.
Well, what happened there? Excuse my ignorance.
Deemuth Karunaratne got hit on the head by Pat Cummins in the test match in Canberra, which, by the way, actually Sri Lanka are doing all right with about 123 for 3, but Australia made 534 for 5 declared. The Sri Lanka lost all 3 of their fast bowling attack from the first test to injuries for the second, so they're a little bit down on bowlers. But yeah, he got hit on the head, but mercifully he's okay. He's been discharged from hospital and hoping to inflict sort of psychological injury, if not physical, is this man.
Jimmy, 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 aja, aja, aja. Jimmy, 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 aja, aja, aja. Jimmy, 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 aja, aja, aja. Jimmy, 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 aja, aja.
He was in proper grump mode yesterday.
I understand.
I like a Jimmy Grump.
He felt hard done by. Didn't he catch one himself and then booted the ball in the air? Rather churlishly for a man of 48 or however old he is. But that one's gone straight through as an appeal. It's gone straight through. Holder nipped into him a bit, but obviously missed the bat. It was only really a bit of an appeal for show. Just went past his hip pocket, but a bit of life, a bit of movement.
Yeah, certainly. If there's a little bit of movement out there, there aren't many better in the world to exploit it than Jimmy Anderson. Again, one just sort of passing over the top of the stumps. For all that the odd one has grubbed through, this is still a pitch with some bounce and some life in it, and we saw it pass there, kind of over the top middle stump via the back leg,
Grazing the hip.
Anderson comes in again. That one's onto the left pocket of Holder. Just he drops it down, and there's no run. I had people talking yesterday about England not bowling many balls that were going to hit the stumps, but to hit the stumps in these conditions, you have to be bowling half volleys.
or get one that grubs.
So it's no wonder they're not doing that. It's not a fault of their bowling.
No, I think the line, sort of the Hawkeye, the actual line rather than that stat is perhaps more instructive. I think Stokes in particular bowled a bit too wide of the stumps. He was trying for that one that starts from wide of the crease and angles in, but it just didn't quite go.
See what Jimmy can do with this one. Holt hasn't really middled either of these. He's I think we'll give him credit and say he's played inside that one. Well, not by very much, but he did just pull his bat away.
Carlisle Collins joins us and says, just wondering how they sourced black armbands so quickly. Do cricketers always have them in their kit
They
bags?
have them on demand. What a morbid thought.
Yeah, I'd presume that maybe they have them at the venue, to be honest.
Very possibly. I mean, I remember playing a game where we were... I think a pupil of ours had just died at schools a couple of years above us, and someone brought a roll of black tape.
Anderson, and again, that one's definitely played inside by Holder. Just prior to that, we had a little montage of Jimmy Anderson grumping it up yesterday.
In fact, they might... No, it's sort of Velcro. There's a proper black armbands, if such a thing exists.
International black armbands. Shouldn't joke, I know, sorry.
Tim Stokes joins us and says, nice one. I am there now. The jingles are classic. Thank you, Tim.
You're live at the ground, friend?
No, he means he's joined us.
Do you know who is live at the ground, though? I'll tell you in a minute. Not Fred... no, sorry, I've spoiled it. Anderson cut bowling. No, he isn't bowling, but not Fred Titmus is apparently in attendance in Antigua.
And on the mic, from what we hear, for our friends out at Line and Length.
Excellent. But anyway, we'll keep an eye out for a big England flag with Cricklewood Gunners on it, because that'll be him.
Sherry Green is with us on Facebook Live. Condolences to Alzari Joseph on his mum's passing away. May her soul rest in peace. And then said, so good to see the players wearing black armbands. Yes,
nice to see both sides wearing. And that's a real good ball from Anderson. That one, he had to play at that one. Holder is arrowing towards the stumps. It nipped away. It nipped up, beat the shoulder of the bat. Another one for Jimmy to be happy about. At the end of another probing over, 277 for 6.
Jimmy was bang on the money with pretty much every single ball of that
one
over.
In particular was, you can't play that one. If you're too good, you'll edge it.
Armchair Podcast joins us and says, good day to all gorillas from a wet and rainy Amsterdam. Messi Jez joins us. Hi, Messi.
Hi there.
And says, evening all, you'll be delighted to know that your favourite Australian, Shane Warne, who predicted 2 weeks ago that England would be ranked as #1 test side by the end of 2019, which is effectively impossible, is now confident that Australia will retain the Ashes.
They might.
Shane Warne has opinions. If you don't like them, he'll have some more in a couple of weeks.
Messi Jez, I can tell you the GPL is open. The Gorilla Prediction League, which I'll tell you about after the first ball of Stuart Broad's over.
Broad is going to come around the wicket again to Darren Bravo, and he covers that one up out towards extra, and there's no run.
Yeah, so it's our competition. It's our competition of skill and judgment and cricketing smarts. The idea is that you guess the number of runs that will be scored in today's play, which I think so far is maybe 1. In fact, it is
No,
exact.
it's 5. They got two braces.
Sorry,
in
yes,
the
they started
first
on,
over.
they started on 272, of course, so far aside. But you guess the number of runs that will be scored in the day's play. You have to get your guesses in by lunchtime, and the way you do that is you go to gorillacricket.com/competitions, register or log in. You pay £1 per guess.
Thickish edge that time from Bravo. It drops out to Gully. Once again, there's no run.
Yeah, you pay £1 per guess, and if you are bang on, no nearest to the ball, if you are bang on, you get whatever's in the pot. The pot so far is £32, which is better than a savings account.
Well, yeah, 3,200% interest is, one we would all like. For some reason, we've got a shot of people wearing grass skirts in the crowd. Careful with the cultural appropriation while this particular panel is watching you.
Of the wrong culture. It's several thousand miles away.
Yes. Oh, that one's arrowed in towards the stumps by Broad, and Bravo made a bit of a meal of it. They're getting a run for some reason. A little careless. I know Broad had...
Oh, I see.
For some reason, Broad threw it at the stumps, I think. It then dropped down into nowhere, and the batsman very, very cleverly took a quick run.
It bounced off the stumps at the striker's end.
Yeah, obviously Broad has thrown it onto the stumps for no reason. We'll have another look here. Bravo, as I say, made a bit of a meal of it. Hit his bottom hand, and even though he's standing in his crease, Broad has thrown it back at the stumps. It's gone about 4 yards into the offside, and the batsmen have said thank you, taken a run. Nicely done. Yeah,
well done, Bravo and Holder, and that's, I think, it's the second time that Broad's given away overthrows. 4 runs off Jimmy Anderson's bowling yesterday, which obviously didn't improve Jimmy's mood.
No, and as Dave Tickner said, that was more runs than Broad had scored in 8 of his last 10 innings. So he's pulled, that one's Holder's got the full face of the bat on that one, drops it down into the offside. Could have been a run, they decided against. And it's another dot, 278 for 6.
It's quite gentle when Broad's pitching it up so far.
Well, it's quite gentle. Even Jimmy's only bowling 78, 80. I mean,
but it's not the.
I know that's what they do.
But it's not the speed gunners yet. Jimmy was getting the ball to seemingly zip.
It's like I say, the laws of physics. It's losing less of its energy off the pitch than you would expect.
Speed in the air, speed off the pitch.
Does make a slight difference. Broad again. Ooh, that one took off a little bit, but a little bit tennis bally. Holder let it go. It was a foolish ball, suddenly boinged off a trampoline, and Bairstow had to take it over his head.
That was a comedy boing.
It was a bit, yeah. I just used to have a sofa like that.
Yeah, it was more danger to Johnny Bairstow than it was to Jason Holder or his wicket.
Well, plus Jason Holder, you've got to get it up a long way.
I actually did take a little bit out the top.
Yep. Always good to see for the side that's got runs on the board, which is the West Indies at the moment. Yeah, Joe Root not looking too impressed by that. He's got to go and bat in it again after getting a fly off the last one.
Our friend Mash St. Paddy, who has literally just walked into the studio, joins us on Twitter.
Broad comes in again. That one's arrowed towards the stumps. A nice net drive from Holder, but it's straight to mid-off. There's no run.
Welcoming our new listener, Tim Stokes. He says, my good friend Stokes, your loyalty knows no bounds. I shall be on shortly to gloat and rally. Renee Kitta joins us and says, how selfless is Tim Payne? He declared before reaching his own 50. Isn't that downright un-Australian?
It is a bit, yeah.
And Pirate Badshah joins us and says, afternoon all. On Sri Lanka's bowler situation, the debutante Karunaratne played against Ireland A few weeks ago. He took 3 for 99 there off 25 overs and scored 100 not out in their second innings. Ireland A's 508 for 8 declared was their highest score ever.
Yeah, that was the
A scored 500. I know, against
the Ireland Wolves, yeah. I think they lost the test match.
After scoring 500?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's always fun.
I think they may have drawn it. There's a few players from that squad who have made the Ireland senior squad. James McCollum, who we had on the show actually in Malahide.
Good to see. You've always felt that they were relying on the same group of players, and they're not going to go on forever. That one's just jabbed down into the offside by Bravo. A cover point is quite close, so no danger of a run.
Disappointingly, the man with the best jingle in the world, Tyrone Kane, is not in any of the islands.
It's such
senior,
a shame.
Senior squads for the
Tell me
Omar.
about it. Tell me about it. I put together a jingle for Jennings that I was really pleased with, and then England went and
it's
dropped
very,
it.
very good.
England went and dropped
I don't know
it,
what's
the
going to happen with that
bastards.
soon. So maybe we'll get the opportunity.
Maybe. Well, the thing is, it's been. I don't know if it's on there, but it's been cut down to use for a wicket without him saying Jennings at the start. So I don't know if Bears put that on. Anyway, Anderson. Plus, we need a wicket, which is not looking too likely. Anderson into the gut of Bravo, and he guts it down in front of him for no run.
A few more people with us on Facebook Live. Vakas Vicky says England will win, and Sanjay Naik casting ahead says World Cup final India versus England. I'm waiting. Medal emoji. Medal emoji.
Well, you're going to have to wait for 7 months, 6 months. Is it in July?
Starts at the end of May. Finishes in
it's
July.
World Cup first and then Ashes, isn't it?
It is.
Correct.
The finals
Yeah.
at the sort of first week of July. Is that
Yeah,
right?
about
Okay,
that.
only 5 months then. What excitement! Well, to be fair, Jimmy's got that one more into the armpit than the gut, taking a bit of pounding these batsmen already. But that one didn't get up so much, and Bravo was able to clip it to backward square, pick up a single.
It's a tad flaily from Darren Bravo. He did get hit yesterday by Stuart Broad, slightly ducked into one that didn't really get up at all and sort of smashed him on the forearm. But he seems to be okay.
Hard to bat for 172 balls in these conditions without wearing a few of them, I would think.
Yeah, he's done extremely well, particularly given that he had almost no 4-day cricket before
Yeah.
being recalled after
Yeah, good point.
after nearly 2 years away.
Yep, Anderson's going to come in now to Holder over the wicket, and that one holds its line into middle stump. Holder with half of the bat rather jabs it into the onside. There's no run.
Just to further your point, Knuckle, a little bit, he has almost exclusively played T20 leagues. And he hasn't been super successful in them either. But it just goes to show that mentality that people have, that T20 ruins your test game. I mean, maybe, but maybe not necessarily so.
You never got the impression with Darren Bravo that he ever particularly committed to developing it.
Tests ruined his T20 game. Anderson comes in, and Holder works that into the onside, but again, there's no run.
He was recalled to the one-day side before he was recalled to the test side, with Everton never really having a one-day strike rate that befits the modern era. Having said that, neither did Shai Hope, and he's actually been on a very good run of in recent times. But Darren Bravo is certainly a very good a test player of some pedigree.
He certainly showed a lot of patience yesterday, and Sky keeps showing what we're talking about. We're now getting a montage of Darren Bravo getting bashed up on the elbow yesterday. Anderson's in. That's a very good leave from Jason Holder, possibly leaving on length as much as anything. It went above and past the off stump for no run. And that's
Arthur
into the over. Sorry,
pardon
Taz.
me.
279 for 6.
Arthur Sure joins us. Hi, and says, afternoon, chaps. What's a good day for England? Keeping the first innings deficit below 250, not being 5 down at the close, avoiding Ben Stokes being deported.
A low bar there from Arthur Shear, but
I think if England can keep the lead below
150.
I think 150 is up the upper bounds of what they'd be what would be acceptable to them. Maybe 120, 125, and they've had a reasonable morning's work.
Well, that might bring us on to a tweet that we have from our friend Cricketing View. Hello, Broad says 140 can be defended here. Can it?
Yes,
Absolutely.
I think it can be.
Fourth innings, yeah, quite possibly.
We saw that Moan was getting not that much turn, but certainly some bounce on this, and we've seen the odd one starting to come out of the top already. Maybe the pitch will get a little bit slower, and that might sort of negate the effect of some of the movement.
That does happen sometimes, but the problem is for England to set 140, they're going to have to score close to 300.
Yes, at least, depending on how much the
Yeah.
West Indies scored. Stuart Broad was saying overnight that, or possibly it might have been sort of late last night, that it would take one of those innings that would go down in the history book, that would go into the history books from England.
Yep.
From a particular England player.
Yes. Square leg has been moved back, suggesting that Broad is going to bowl short. Is he going to follow that plan up? Not really. It's a length ball. It's having one of his famous appeals when the Bravo had really walked into the ball. It's already hit him round the hip, and no one else could be bothered to join in with that one, and rightly so.
He had a magnificent celeb appeal yesterday. With the ball, in fairness, I was on ball by ball at the time, and I genuinely thought it had bowled him, judging by... It looked as though it should have bowled him and just passed... grazed the back leg and just passed over the top of the off bail.
Just continued its original kind of line. Height, I mean.
Yeah, they reviewed it because it was such a good ball, but it wasn't out.
Yeah, one of those reviews, yep. Bravo wants someone to wait, possibly someone's behind the bowler's arm.
And while we're waiting, let me get a tweet in from a new listener, Himanish Ganju. Listening to you guys for the first time, it's great. With bowling-friendly pitches and tougher touring, will a Pujara Bravo approach become a new standard for test batting at opposite ends to slam-bang batting in the T20
It's so
era?
hard to do.
Every team could use one. England could use one, definitely. But yeah, should be what you're aiming at. Outside the off stump that time, Bravo shouldered arms expansively, and there's no run.
But I think people...
Alistair Cook.
I think people massively...
Sorry.
Sure.
Back
That's
from
an
the farm.
Essex sneeze.
Sure, Dean Elgar. But I think people massively overestimate how many of them there have been who have been successful
Yeah,
with that
exactly.
approach.
You can do that an average 35, and it's a bit meh, really.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it buys time for runs for someone else,
And
which is a valuable thing.
Yeah, but I'd still rather have someone averaging 45 going at a normal rate. That was left alone again by Bravo. But if you can be Che Pujara, like I say, every team would really value a Che Pujara right now.
Yeah, you see someone he will soak up the pressure and then transfer it back onto the opposition as soon as he gets one that's in his zone. If it's on the pads, particularly short outside off stump, he will punish anything. If you drop short as a spinner to Pujara, he will put you away. He will come down the track and work you for singles. Your margin for error with someone, and then he can keep out your best ball.
Yeah, and he's doing it in India and he's doing it in Australia. Two very different conditions. Broad's in again, shorter ball that time. Bravo just drops his hands underneath it, played that quite well. There's no run. Yeah,
his away record is the thing that's been talked about. I mean, certainly he had a poor run for Yorkshire just before the start of the England series, and it contributed, I think, to him not being in the side. But I was talking to someone at Headingley when I was there for the third ODI. I was talking to someone, and they were saying that he'd scored no runs, but had scored them slowly. So he'd basically been using it as an extended, almost a net. Obviously, he would have loved to score more hundreds. He's insatiable, but he came into the side and scored that 100 at Trent Bridge, which helped win India the Test match. As you say, Andy, he's had a brilliant series in Australia.
Yes.
Against a handy bowling attack.
They seem a bit less handy since Sandpaper Gate. How coincidental.
Yeah, not the pictures of the life that this one has, but still not bad.
Broad is in. That's a little bit too far down leg, and with square leg back, there's an easy single out there for Bravo.
Nine Butt on Facebook Live says simply good.
our friend Ravi Nair joins us on tweets and says, "Hi all, Knuckle, Taz and Alec? Question mark?
Does he mean he hasn't seen me for a while? Love you too, Ravi.
By the way, we are doomed."
Always doomed.
Yes, it is Andy Ward on Ball by Ball. Alec is not in today, but we do have many more people in the green room. Mash, as we said, is in the green room. Annie Chave is in the green room. Those two will be on in a few minutes. In fact, in sort of 7 minutes or so. Daniel Gallen is in the green room, making his coming back. He was on for the first day of this test, and he was on during the last test. We've also got Nick Martin.
Another expansive leave by Holder. Lifts his bat well above his head, and as you can imagine, that's a long way up already. I think his bat's about 9 foot off the ground there.
Hang on a minute. That's Nick Martin, as in the guy I totally follow on Twitter, and then I walked in and I was like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. I don't know who you are."
And
then he never even thought to say, "Yeah, we follow each other on Twitter."
The very same. He's far too self-effacing for any of
Wow,
that.
how nice of him.
Yeah, indeed. I think we've also got...
I'd have said, I'm on Twitter. I'm quite a big star on there.
People introduce... This
We
does
talk every day, and what a nice guy that he didn't point out that I'm an asshole.
It is sometimes we do get this thing where we sometimes meet our listeners. In fact, a lot of people have trod the well-worn path from listener to on-air regular, myself and Taz included. In fact,
well, all of us except
the OGs,
the governors,
OGs.
the governors, yeah,
the Nigels.
But people do introduce themselves sometimes in person by their Twitter handles.
Prodded into the offside by Bravo. Is going to take a quick run, and the batsmen are quicker than the fielders there because they weren't really on it, able to get through. We're just looking at the West Indies scorecard there, and a bit of a peculiarity there: 280 for 6, and no one's got 50.
No, they did this in the first innings of the first test as well. I think only Hetmeyer got 50, and I think 4 of the top 6 got out between... Oh no, there was one other 50 there. 4 of the top 6 got out between 40 and 60.
You know, I've actually really, really enjoyed that because they have, and this is what they've done better than England insofar as I have seen, which is play the ball. Play the conditions, play the situation, not worry about personal milestones.
That one's covered up by Holder, straight back to Anderson.
Arguably, England could have done with a couple of personal milestones somewhere in there. But I get your
But
point.
just not that mentality of let me reach my 50. Rather that mentality of let me stay in, let me build an innings.
Yeah, I think what you can say is that I think barring Craig Brathwaite yesterday, who was tied down, it took him an age to get through the 40s, and eventually he fell on 49. I think barring Brathwaite, none of them have seemed to change their game particularly when approaching, a base 10 milestone.
Well, you'd hope not. I mean, we really think 50 shouldn't be a big deal for a Test batsman. Holder lets that one go outside off stump.
Yeah, Darren Bravo is 39 or 178 and doesn't seem to have a care in the world.
I love it. I love it. Aaron Bushby joins us in the Twitterverse and says, "Hi everyone, I wouldn't listen to anything Shane Warne has said about the Ashes. He called a BBL game tonight and he sounded like he might have had a drink or two before the game. He was very loose tonight."
I can't really blame him for that. I mean, John Arlott used to have cases of Burgundy delivered to the TMS box.
Oh, a thick edge there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it's not been caught. I don't think that quite carried. Butler and Stokes have both sort of gone for it, but I think it bounced a good couple of feet in front of them. Still, Anderson found the edge of Jason Holder's bat there.
Yeah, I think he played it down. I think it bounced even in front of Butler diving across from third slip, who obviously is ahead of second. Yeah, bounced well short in the end. And a good stop, actually, by Stokes, given that he was partially unsighted by Joss Butler diving across him.
We have a wonderful tweet from Messages who says, "Play Andy's Jennings jingle anyway."
No, don't do that. Save it for when it happens. I don't want to...
We need to be able to pass our expert opinion on it so we can determine whether it's worth recalling Jennings to the team.
Well, there is a cut-down version, which I'm trying to find, which could be of some use.
Yeah, if it's not on the jingle thing, if it's we've got a pantomime horse looking around the window, it's behind you.
Is that a man from Essex? It is.
It's Nestle Boy.
Nestle Boy.
Anyway, here comes Jimmy again. Did Holder play that? Did he not? Only he will know. That's
Do you want to
right,
describe
50-50 that one?
Jimmy's face as well as the ball? Because I think it's probably equally worth the description.
He just looks a bit more grumpy than usual.
He looks like someone has slapped his baby.
Quite focused, though. Does he have a baby, Anderson?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people do with their personal time.
What they do with
just their cricketing time.
Yeah.
Tony Cork joins us and says, #Warnsplaining.
Nice.
Warnsplaining indeed. No, don't worry about the jingle. It'll come in its course.
In its
These
time.
things should happen organically.
Arthur Shear says the jingle could be the solution to perpetual motion, make us all millionaires and reverse global warming, and it still wouldn't be worth recalling Jennings.
I'm just trying to find which email account it was in.
Probably fair, yeah. See, here's the thing with Jennings. I think it would be perfectly fine to say to him, we're going to consider you for tours to Asia, but apart from that, forget it.
Yeah, fair.
Apart from that, forget it. And if you're in Asia and he's playing and he scores 150 in the last game, you say, great, well done, see you in the UAE in 18 months.
Does anyone else feel like checking out Hasib Hamid again?
I mean, he's got to score some runs.
Yeah, absolute
some
fact.
runs.
Absolute
Yeah.
fact.
He's got.
yeah.
I mean, he scored, I think, 100 for the second 11, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much it in the last 2 years.
Yep, after getting demoted.
And I'm sure the intense focus on his every innings can't
Doesn't help. Hmm.
Isn't going to help if you throw him back into the arena.
And look at his. Yeah, he was hugely impressive in India, but he only scored 150.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We were a bit desperate for,
Still are.
we still are. We're desperate
Still
for
are.
England's. I mean, look at England's top six at the moment. Is anyone apart from Root really comfortable where they are and in their role and in their
JB's
position?
Doing
I
okay.
think Rory
yeah, but I
Burns
don't
is
think he
great.
wants to be three, and Burns is still settling in.
I think Burns was quite impressive in the second innings in Barbados. I think he's probably got till the the Ireland test, probably at least
You
halfway
think?
through the Ashes.
There's nobody putting up their hands, so maybe he'll just get a teeny tiny bit more time.
Yeah, I'm.
Maybe.
That's the thing. I mean, tests are going to go on the back burner after this series.
Look, we haven't. Let's see who does something in the first few months of the county championship, but it's difficult in those conditions for openers to make a real impact.
Broad, I have to have a long chat with Anderson. He's now got a short leg, and Bravo actually ducks underneath that one. A little bit of bounce.
Yeah, I don't really know what that was all about because the field doesn't seem to have changed too much.
We're going to have a change in here after this one.
We are, indeed.
People are queuing up at the back post. Queuing up at
the
British pastime of queuing.
It's the
but in a very orderly way, you'll be pleased to hear.
It's like the Gareth Southgate love train on the end, on the edge of the England box, as we see John Stones and Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire. Whatever happened to him? I know. We've also got a leg gully for Stuart Broad. We're trying some leg theory here. He's got a short-ish leg. He's not right under the lid, but he's short-ish, and also a leg gully. He's bowling over the wicket now. That's what it is. He was bowling round to Bravo before. He's bowling over to him now, and also just trying to cramp him up around the chest and armpit.
Yeah. Sorry, just to announce the change. It'll be me going to ball by ball, and Annie and Mash will sort themselves out onto the other two seats accordingly.
In the meantime, Tim Mansfield joins us and says, Sir Jimmy has not bowled 41.2 overs since taking a wicket. Are we in record country?
Maybe. Well, certainly Broad had a little bit of an interest there to Bravo as he bowled that one onto the hip, and Bravo flicked it in the direction of short leg. Kept him interested. He may have missed it entirely, actually. Well, I guess he did, seeing a short leg caught it. But it just came off the hip.
Yeah, decent work from Keaton Jennings at tall leg.
Yep. Of course, Jennings is on the field for Folkes, and he has at least done well at short leg, if not so much with the bat. Broad making his intentions very clear, short outside leg stump, and Bravo watches it with a degree of contempt.
I think in a winning team, a consistently winning team, Keaton Jennings might be all right, because he does have the ability to bat time. What he doesn't
against fast bowlers.
Well,
he just isn't good enough to last long.
Well, he batted 80 balls in the second innings in Barbados, and really didn't look in trouble until he got out. He just doesn't have any shots against fast bowlers. If that sets the platform to someone to score a very quick 100 down the order, fine, you might be able to live with it.
If 17 off 80 is the best you can do, I'm going to have to disagree. Anyway, play down to short leg and there's no run.
I think you might be right about that. That might have been Jennings sort of playing at his peak against quick bowling, and this attack is quick and good, more to the point.
Look, it's not easy. It's different challenges. Kemar Roach is skidding it through. Shannon Gabriel's bringing it down from a height. Jason Holder's banging it in. No one said it's easy, but you can do it. You can still do it well and badly. Come to the end of the over now from Broad. Bravo eyes him up and plays that one down to the offside, and there's no run. We're going to have a bit of musical chairs. Are you going to jingle something up there?
Yes, indeed. Well, Taj, you want to read some tweets?
Yeah,
because the jingle machine's going phooey.
Messers joins us and says, Shane Warne on BBL is even worse than Shane Warne on test matches. His main point today seemed to be his boast to have been playing poker for 13 hours a day whilst consuming pizza. If I want poker commentary, I'd much prefer Get It Quietly's wisdom. Thank you. And I will now vacate the tweet chair so that we can let our friend Mash sit in and join you guys on Twitter's world.
Thank you very much, Taz. Rally round to Guerrilla Cricket. It's our coverage of England's tour of the West Indies. You join us in the first session of day 3 of the second test. England got bowled out for 187. The West Indies are 281 for 6. Darren Bravo is 39 not out of 184 balls. The balls are absolutely as important as the wickets. He's at the crease with his captain, Jason Holder, who's on 22 as Jimmy Anderson comes in, and that's a ripping delivery from Jimmy Anderson. Finally takes the edge, and that string of wicketless overs is ended. A ripping bouncer from, well, not really a bouncer, but a back of a length delivery which climbed on Jason Holder, moved away, took the shoulder of the bat. Simple catch for Johnny Bairstow. Good innings from Jason Holder ends. He's gone for 22. The West Indies lose their 6th wicket. Possibly their 7th wicket. Yeah, there was not a lot really that Holder could have done about that. Jimmy's been on target from pretty much ball 1 today. Yes, the West Indies 281 for 7, but the lead is the more important thing. As we welcome to the mics Annie Chave on the jingles and Mashal and Patrick Hewitt on the tweets.
Hi, Knuckle, and given that we're in a commanding position, let me once again start with Rally, rally round the West Indies, now and forever.
Yes, indeed. And
When you say we, you mean the West Indies, obviously.
I mean me, just only me.
glad to see someone's in a strong position. But yeah, the lead is not decisive yet at 94, but it is something that England are going to have to work very hard to overcome, and they're going to have to bat considerably better than they have at any point in the series thus far. Stuart Broad was saying pretty much the same thing overnight. I'm not sure that it necessarily takes one standout innings. You know, the West Indies were shown actually on this that it might be a case of everyone contributing and partnerships developing and tiring the bowlers out a little bit, but you know, bowlers don't get tired as easily when the ball's doing as much.
You're referring to Broad's interview.
Broad's post-match comments yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear how Broad saw it. He also said that he was saying that was up to 97 catches he's had dropped off his bowling. I wonder if he's doing the counting or he went to some analyst somewhere. But we'll park those conversations for a little while because the West Indies number 9 is out to the middle.
He ain't no dope, he ain't no weed. That Kemar Roach, he deals in speed.
There goes Kemar Roach.
Starts with a very nice shot, a full delivery from James Anderson, almost a Yorker that swung into Roach. He just put the bat there and it pinged off the middle of the bat into the stumps at the non-striker's end and then rebounded off past the mid-off, who is quite well up and quite wide, and he takes the resultant single.
Read a great article by Jonathan Liu this morning about Roach and his bowling. Have you?
Yeah, I read
that?
it on the way here.
Great,
really good.
it?
Yeah.
I haven't yet. I've been impressed with Kemar Roach for, let's be honest, most of his career. He's been in playing in Test match cricket for a very long time. I used to love watching him and Jerome Taylor operate together, but I think his fitness is remarkable. I don't think he's much slower now than he was in his pomp. This is a delicious delivery from Jimmy Anderson, which from over the wicket to the left-handed Darren Bravo seams away, and there was very, very little Darren Bravo could do with that, and he's just poking at the original line and was happy to see it whistle past the outside edge through to the keeper. There is no run. That's done too much, if anything.
Yeah, off the back of that discussion about the article and something you said, Knuckle, I think there's been a danger by a few too many, what I would call English journalists, to try and say that...
As Anderson comes in, that's another unplayable delivery that seamed away so late. I mean, it started outside leg stump and ended up probably missing off stump on another set of stumps. That's gone like an off break. It's absolutely unplayable. Credit to Darren Bravo. He's bowling too well.
Far too well.
Credit to Darren Bravo, I guess, for not following it with his hands, but I don't think he'd have got near that even if he tried.
Nothing to do about that.
Yeah, if you pitch that delivery a little bit further up, but then again, if you probably pitch that delivery further up, it doesn't do anything and goes into the leg side. But he does pitch this further up, does Jimmy Anderson, and Bravo squared up by it, but gets the bat down and into the offside it goes. There is no run. We see the West Indies brought out the heavy roller this morning, and why not?
Yeah, heavier than the last one anyway.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Jimmy needs to bowl some filth, doesn't he, really?
Yeah. A long hop that gets spanked straight to cover point. That is not a long hop, it's a swinging delivery outside off stump, but wide enough that Bravo can leave. Success at last for Jimmy Anderson. Darren Bravo on 39, Kemar Roach on 1, West Indies 282 for 7.
Yeah, I'll return to that point, but first I'll just get some tweets out of the way. So Pirate Badshaw says the second match was drawn, the first in SSC Colombo was lost. McCullum batting very well in the red ball section of the tour, scoring 193 runs in 3 innings, and was 45 not out when the second match ended. I'm not sure what that's referring to.
That's Island Wolves' tour of Sri Lanka, playing against Sri Lanka A, and a number of strong performances from that side have been brought into the Island senior squads.
Sanjeev Kumar says this series looks like a throwback to an era when the West Indies were relevant, harsh, if not unbeatable in the Richardson era.
I mean, England haven't won in the West Indies since 2004 and beyond, and going back from that, it's a very, very long time
68,
indeed.
I think.
Yeah, going back to before the dominant era, the truly dominant era. They had a good team in 68, of course, with Sobers and Kanhai and
not bad, yeah,
and a few decent fast bowlers as well, plus Lance Gibbs. But yeah, it's not a place that England have done well in historically. You know, it took India a very long time to win there as well. So, no, I don't think that's at all fair. Relevant is stretching a point.
I'll wait for... Oh, no, we've got time. Armchair Cricket Podcast. I don't know if you've mentioned it already when you started comms. but with reference to Aljari Zolziv's mother passing away.
Yeah, it's very sad news overnight. And credit to him for obviously keeping going, and we see the players on both sides wearing black armbands. It's a tragic situation, and must be very, very difficult for the young man. Stuart Broad continues, bowls a filthy wide delivery, which Kemar Roach has nothing to do with. Leaves alone outside off stump. There is no run. Kemar Roach averages only 11 or so in Test match cricket, no 50s, but he can certainly hang around, as indeed can Alzari Joseph, as he showed in the first innings. So it's not going to be easy for England, at least until they get to Shannon Gabriel, who is one of the all-time worst number 11s.
Yes, I still remember that hoik when trying to...
Why did he do that? In comes Stuart Broad, a few slips on a short leg in place, 3 slips on a gully in fact, and Roach plays this from the crease into the offside. Joe Denley, I think that is, coming round from gully to field, and there is no run.
That hoik actually against Pakistan that lost us the series. If you actually, that could have been a turning point in Gabriel's career, because he had to have had, he's been phenomenal bowling wise since his batting's not improved obviously, but you have to have a long hard look at yourself when you do something like that in international cricket, because the whole region cussed him for that. So I mean,
that ball was 2 feet outside off stump that he had that hoik to of Yasir Shah. Stuart Broad in, Kemar Roach with no such delusions of grandeur, just waves his bat inside the line of the ball. Never a danger of an edge. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run.
So that point that Annie was making about the article on Kemar Roach and what I was trying to say earlier on was just that I think, generally speaking, the English journalists' approach to this Test match has been all right, but there's been a few too many articles which have almost implied as if none of these West Indian players had talent prior to this tour, and people have only just realised that they have talent.
Lou wasn't doing that about Roach.
No, he wasn't, but I'm just saying.
Jonathan Liu is one of the better guys out there, for sure. Well, there is delusions of grandeur for sure. Kemar Roach, I think someone might have been saying, mind the windows, Kemar, as Stuart Broad hung this outside off stump. Roach has an almighty swipe at this, and mercifully for Kemar Roach, missed it by a mile. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run. I really don't know what shot Kemar Roach thought he was trying to play there.
Just practicing his swing.
Practicing his golf swing. Stuart Broad had a look at Darren Bravo there at the non-striker's end as if to say, what on earth is he doing? To which Darren Bravo presumably says, no idea. Penultimate ball of the over is fuller and straighter, and Kemar Roach plays this from the crease into mid-wicket, fielded by the man coming in there, and there is no run.
Yeah, Roach certainly isn't mirroring Bravo's approach at the moment.
No, I wonder if Darren Bravo will start playing a few more shots now with 2 strokeless blockers and then one absolute bunny to come.
I don't think he will. I think he desperately needs this not out, if I'm honest. I think he should just play as he's been doing. I already think 95 runs is crucial in this Test match.
You could well be right. Last ball of Stuart Broad's over is back of a length, and Kemar Roach solidly in behind that one, drops it into the offside. There is no run. Darren Bravo might have been wondering why he let Kemar Roach face an entire over of Stuart Broad, but no harm done. Roach survives West Indies 282 for 7 and lead, as Marshall says, by a potentially pivotal 95.
Guerrilla Cricket SA say Faf's off for a well-earned rest. The only man ever to retire from Test match cricket. David Miller will captain South Africa for the rest of the South Africa-Pakistan series. If I missed something there,
I noticed that Faf was off for the next one.
Oh, has he rested himself for the T20s against Pakistan? Yeah. Okay.
Armchair Cricket Podcast says, I agree with Broad's view that 125 plus is defendable in the last innings here. Can England put up as much at all?
Look, I mean, a chase of 120, I think you and I were saying this last night, makes a fascinating game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Anderson in, continuing quite close to the stumps he bowls from over the wicket to the left-handed Darren Bravo, who blocks this in-swinging full delivery back to the bowler. There is no run, and then he practices the block again.
I tweeted into Guerrilla Cricket last night, but it didn't get read out because I think it was tea time. So I'm just going to tweet again, but live on air, and I want the Twitterati to respond to this. If West Indies win this series, is this the biggest upset in international cricket in quite some time?
Back of a length, and Darren Bravo on the back foot just works this in to the leg side down to long leg, and there is no run.
Certainly, according to the English press.
I mean,
the basis, I know you're going to say no, Knuckle, but hear me out first.
Sure.
The basis being, since 2014, West Indies have only beaten Bangladesh and Zimbabwe in a test match series. Hence why they're ranked number 8 in test match cricket, should be ranked number 9. They're beating currently and dominating the number 3 ranked side. It's not even close.
No, completely dominating.
In comes Anderson, full delivery, a little bit of gentle swing into Kemar Roach, who just plays this quite competently into the covers, and there is no run. You're right in that I was hesitating on that, because England have beaten the West Indies in the West Indies once since the 1960s.
But everyone else has beaten us.
Not last year. The West Indies,
admittedly,
Sri Lanka and Bangladesh both, I think, last year. The West Indies have become a decent team at home, which is, that's putting them in company with every other Test team in the world. Kemar Roach has a poke at this one outside off stump, and it flies away past the slip. I'm not sure it was catchable, to be honest. It was well out of the reach of the diving Joss Butler, and down to the third man boundary it goes for 4. Sorry, it was Rory Burns diving across there, and he was nowhere near it. In the end, the West Indies lead exactly 100.
PJ Mead says, good afternoon, Gorillas. I'm settling in for a snooze in front of the test, so try to be soothing in your comments.
I don't want to say blackout no, because I want to think about what other series could qualify as...
That's why I tweeted in, because I thought you might have an answer for me.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look through them, but certainly it's been a hell of a performance from the West Indies so far, as Anderson comes in to Kemar Roach, who defends this from the crease, up to Moeen Ali in the covers, and there is no run.
Twitterati, who are Minnals fans, I guess that's only West Indies, Bangladesh and Zimbabwe, and Afghanistan. If you have beaten a top-ranked side recently, please tell me, because we are seeing a seismic shift in international cricket today.
Possibly. Look, I mean, I don't know if England beating Sri Lanka 3-0 in Sri Lanka, I don't know if it was a whitewash is an upset. Again, we're working against the historical precedent. It's not something England had done again since the 60s, and certainly never in Asia. We've got a deep point for some reason to Kemar Roach, who has a fiddle at this outside off stump, but he was never going to get near that, and he has a little word with himself. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run. Roach on 5, Bravo on 40. The West Indies 287 for 7, lead by exactly 100.
Yeah, that was a good win for England, obviously, that series. But Sri Lanka aren't the side
they
they
are
were.
a bit shambolic right now.
Sure, but most sides are difficult to beat in their own conditions. The West
Absolutely, but we are playing well with spin, aren't we? So.
Yeah, certainly in that series.
Messi Jez says, so with Nestle Boy and Taz in the house, it looks like Essex can be in control of all jingles today, which can only be a good thing.
What, rather than Somerset?
I currently live in Essex, some say East London. It's not a good thing. South London all the way.
Yeah, we had, I was on there, so what, Yorkshire via India to Somerset to Essex. We're well represented in terms of coverage, geographical coverage here on Guerrilla Cricket today. We've even got a South African.
We have.
What have we got? We've got 2 slips and sort of 4th slip as Stuart Broad continues round the wicket to Darren Bravo. He rips his bottom hand away, as they made a little bit of a meal out of that, perhaps. Darren Bravo, he's been struck on the bottom hand. I think he was actually a little bit early on that. He sort of got into position and then just sort of couldn't quite get out the way as the slightly stuck in the pitch and rose on him. Yeah, thudded into that bottom hand. A reasonably well protected bottom hand, but that's got to have hurt. Into the offside it goes. There is no run.
We even had an Australian in the first day.
Certainly did. Simon O'Keefe from Western Australia. Well, sort of Western Australia via Finchley, but still.
Fector Victoria says, evening all. As we are in the West Indies, do we think anyone will beat Lara's score or have 2020 batting tactics and better bowling mean players more likely to quickly get?
Wider on the crease, and this one keeps a little bit low, and Darren Bravo's done really well to keep that out. That was spearing in towards off stump from wide of the crease, and Darren Bravo lunging bodily towards that one to keep it out, and into the offside it goes. There is no run. No one is going to beat 400. I'd be quite surprised, given the evidence of this series, if a team beats 400 in the innings. I'm not saying that because to denigrate the two attacks, but
No, I agree.
These are really tricky conditions.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, the 200, sorry, was rather awesome. We probably won't repeat that.
From Holder in Barbados. Yes, that's
Barbados.
A beautiful delivery from Stuart Broad, just holding its line from around the wicket and swinging away just a little bit perhaps as well, beating the outside edge of Darren Bravo. What Bravo's done really well throughout this innings is playing the original line. He's not followed it with his hands. He's not trying to adjust late or guess how much the ball is going to be swinging. He's content to be beaten on the outside edge because if it misses his outside edge, that means he's still in. In comes Stuart Broad, blood pressure rising, full outside off stump. The sucker delivery to Darren Bravo, well bowled by Stuart Broad. Bravo showing signs of frustration for the first time in the innings, has a swipe at it but misses it outside off stump. Through to the keeper it goes, there is no run.
I was just about to praise Bravo. I mean, that's a rare full shot, but I think Craig Brathwaite said yesterday after the close of play that on this pitch, you just have to play each ball on its merits. And when you get done, you're done.
Yeah.
and that's where England went wrong in the first innings.
Completely, yeah.
And then forget about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's harder. It's much harder to do than to say. You know, it doesn't look good for it plays on your ego a bit if you keep getting beaten outside off stump. But it does mean, as Bravo has realised, that you're still in. That's two straight from Stuart Broad, going a little bit for the magic ball, and I think he knows that. Fired it a little bit towards leg stump and just nudged round the corner by Darren Bravo, who's been very good on anything just a little bit too straight at the stumps. He gets the single and means that Roach has only one ball to survive from Stuart Broad.
Mike Mehorwood says, totally forgot about the test. Guten Samstag from a snowy and freezing Berlin, just sitting in a Kosovan restaurant for lunch before going to buy a toilet seat.
Hello, I'll sit in them.
Thanks for that information.
What other really mind-numbing domestic chores are you doing while listening to Guerrilla Cricket? Three slips in place, a couple of men back on the hook, a full delivery, which is nicely played by Kemar Roach, the sort of Ashley Giles / Matthew Hoggard defensive shot that turns into a cover drive, squirts away down to deep backward point. He'll keep the strike. He's on 6. Bravo inching into the 40s on 41. West Indies 289 for 7, lead by 102.
Sounds like he needs a heated toilet seat as well.
Anyway, I wish for a heated toilet seat.
Or one of those Japanese toilets that...
What do they do?
Is that the plastic sheet ones?
No, the ones, again, they'll heat the toilet seat or they'll...
I don't know these ones.
Yeah, no. Japan, light years ahead, technology-wise.
Cherry Hinterland says, I saw this bloke, Alistair Cook, hanging around at the start of the first test. He could be worth a try as an opener, surely.
I think we've done all those jokes.
It's a good shout, though.
I mean, Cook got it's a test match double 100. It's not to be sniffed at. As we see some people in the crowd, those people in Hawaiian shirts and grass skirts, but will break off for such nonsense because Jimmy Anderson has another wicket. Kemar Roach had a prod at one outside off stump. It flew off the toe end of the bat, and Ben Stokes clung onto it in front of his face. So Jimmy Anderson, after 34 overs without a wicket, has 2 in 3 overs and finally cracks into something approaching a smile. Kemar Roach gone for 6. Credit to Anderson for realising that actually Roach was perfectly comfortable blocking everything, but just that line outside off stump and Roach was going to have a little nibble at it. Ben Stokes is standing quite close at third slip. They're all quite close because the odd one hasn't carried, and he did well to cling on. Kemar Roach gone for 6 off 13, caught by Ben Stokes off the bowling of James Anderson. The West Indies 289 for 8.
Sanjeev Kumar says, at this stage, New Zealand and India look settled in Test match cricket. England papered over the cracks in Sri Lanka. I think that's harsh, personally, but as much as West Indies are dominating this, I think that's harsh.
Yeah, I mean, you can't paper over the cracks your way to a whitewash.
No.
Against some, Sri Lanka's attack, Sri Lanka obviously isn't what it was, and certainly their batting wasn't, but they have their spin attack bowled quite well. I think Dilruwan Pereira is a very good bowler. Sandakan is showing promise. Akila Dhananjaya, before he got banned, looked quite good. Pushpa Kumar has got an incredible first-class record. I think England adapted to the conditions very, very well. It's fair to say they haven't done so in this series. It's fair to say that West Indies have batted well given the conditions, and their bowling attack is dangerous. England just haven't performed with the bat as yet. Let's see what they can do in the third innings of this Test match. But that brings to the crease a man who's in mourning, as he's in and off the back foot, just pushing into the offside, and there is no run. Huge props to this man, having lost his mother overnight.
Alzari Joseph. Alzari Joseph.
Yes, just want to echo what Knuckles said, Joseph playing, and I think
as Anderson is in full delivery, Alzari Joseph blocks solidly up to mid-on, and there is no run. Joseph played a very valuable hand in the first Test match, a 22-ball duck, but was at the other end when Shimmer and Hetmeyer was growing the West Indies' first innings lead. It's one of the best ducks I've seen in Test cricket for quite some time.
Good ducks, don't you?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yes, excellent. How was it? 22 balls, was
22
it?
balls,
yeah, 22 balls. The only thing I just want to say on Alzari Joseph still playing.
As this is fullish and straightish, and Joseph in behind that one very nicely, up to Stuart Broad at mid-on it goes. There is no run.
Is you suspect that if this Test was being played anywhere other than his homeland, he would obviously have left the tour, but
sure.
Granted, this is in Antigua, and you would assume that his family have said carry on playing for the rest of the Test,
maybe
and he can go home after
I was going to say presumably he spent the night at the family home.
Yeah, you would assume.
Or in, I don't know, I haven't read the details. I'm not that morbid. As this is left alone outside of stump. A well-judged lead by Joseph through to the keeper.
No, I don't know. Was it an unexpected death?
This I haven't been told yet. As I understand, it was actually this morning, so it may even be that he was already at the ground and so on and so forth. I'll try and find out some more details and get back to people.
But yeah, I think that's a fair point. He joins a select few actually who he took a wicket with the first Test he's playing in Antigua, and he took a wicket with his first ball in Test cricket on his home ground. I was trying to find out whether any more who else had done that, but it doesn't seem to be a particularly long list. As Anderson in the last ball of the over, Alzari Joseph strikes him on the pad. I think that might be going down leg. It was just swung in late. Chris Gaffney is unmoved. England don't seem to be particularly bothered about reviewing it. Jimmy Anderson's face returns to its habitual grimace. Alzari Joseph survived the over. He's gnawed off 5. Darren Bravo 41 off 95. Big applause from the crowd, who I think the news must have filtered through regarding Alzari Joseph. The West Indies 289 for 8.
Just a tweet from Guerrilla Cricket South Africa, which should have read a while back, but they said that when Jason Holder got out, they noticed he's got no bat sponsor.
Correct.
So either he has a shocking agent or he's asking way too much money.
Well, he had a little one on the sort of the toe end of the bat, but yeah, nothing on the face of the bat. What did I describe it as? I think I described it as aggressively sandpapered. Oh no, aggressively sponsorless. That was the
aggressively sponsorless. Very good.
Ostentatiously, that was the word I used, because it is very striking.
Yeah.
Should be having probably got a couple more overs of this combination, then we'll call in some more from the green room. We'll get we'll get Daniel, and we'll get Nestle Boy in, I think.
Who's brought his whiskey?
Yes, I saw. We've got some more of the from the original batch still, as Stuart Broad continues. Broad and Anderson are bowled unchanged this morning for nearly an hour. This one keeps a little bit low, but Bravo just blocks into the onside, and there is no run.
I had some of that whiskey when I was in here covering the first Test, and needless to say, it sent me into a tailspin as I went to school the next morning.
Was that the whiskey that ended up in the punch?
In the punch, yes. Yeah. The following morning was interesting.
It's Caribbean, isn't it?
Via the Highlands. This one keeps a little bit low. Broad puts hand to head as though with every good ball he deserves a wicket. But Bravo again doing very well to get low to these ones from his high-ish backlift, and into the leg side it goes. There is an easy single. He's become less of a Ryan Lara clone over time. We were talking about his stylistic leanings. Obviously a cousin of the great man. And
to be honest, I'm just glad to see him play this kind of innings.
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's the sort of innings he was playing before.
Exactly, yeah. And ultimately, I think 3 years out of Test cricket, you have to find your way back again. I think I heard you on comms, Knuckle, talking about how he dedicated himself to 2020, and of all the players to do so, I've never got my head around why Bravo was trying to do that. But
yeah,
make your money.
Taz was saying that, as we've got a sort of backward short leg in place, quite deep. Alzari Joseph has a drive at this and misses it by quite some distance. Broad hung it full outside off stump and through to the keeper it goes. There is no right. Yeah, Taz was saying that I can only assume that he had to make a career.
Yeah, I mean, given that he'd called Dave Cameron a big idiot, you have to make your money somehow.
Yeah.
Whilst you're recovering from
Yeah.
that.
And is Dave Cameron still a big idiot?
Well, they've both apologised to each other.
Right.
So Cameron remains a big idiot.
Yes.
And Bravo technically is an idiot for calling him an idiot.
It's been a complicated tenure, Wycliffe Dave Cameron.
God, yeah.
Yes.
Some good things have happened, but he doesn't carry himself particularly well. That's a good Yorker from Stuart Broad, which is well dug out by Alzari Joseph. Didn't seem to have too much trouble with that. Again, coming down from a height and clipped into the leg side. There is no run.
I presume it's Cameron who's brought in Pybus as well.
Yeah, well, Cameron and Pybus are best mates.
Yeah.
There is no one in the Caribbean who can honestly tell me they have a positive thing to say about Cameron. The team, yes. Cameron, no.
No.
And even if West Indies win this second test, I just want to say Pybus out still.
Yeah. The Leeward Islands mounted a challenge to the appointment of Richard Pybus on the basis that he'd been hand-picked and there hadn't been a published shortlist. Stuart Broad is in the full delivery down leg side, and I think that might have been a leg by as Joseph tried to work it into the leg side. Just the one run, no, off the bat. So Alzari Joseph now has some runs in the series. Just picks up a single. Intriguingly, the one player not wearing a black armband is Alzari Joseph himself.
Well spotted.
That's fair enough. I will, however, say I am willing to say Pybus in if West Indies win the World Cup. Then I'm saying Pybus in.
How much of that will
It's a
be
bit
to do with
fickle.
Pybus?
Nothing, but I'll say Pybus in all the same.
'Cause I think Johnny Grave has made some quite positive
He's been brilliant.
Yeah.
contributions to West Indian cricket. This one rears up off a length and off the splice of the bat into the leg side. Bravo not committing to the shot, as I guess you wouldn't. And into the leg side it goes, fielded by Rory Burns. End of an interesting over from Stuart Broad, the West Indies, 291 for 8.
I better run through some tweets. Tim Stokes says, he's a mate of mine. He said, good to hear you on the digital wireless, but he's told me never to sing again. Cheers, Tim.
I thought it was
I
lovely.
thought it was
I
great, yeah.
thought my baritone was on point. Anyways, Ravi Nair says, does the new green room have chairs you can frog sleep across?
It's not a new green room, it's a rearranged
It's just
green room.
rearranged, yeah.
Yes, there are lots of positions for Chris Dealey to fall asleep uncomfortably in.
Adam says, sorry if it's been asked before, who or how is it decided who keeps for England these days?
I don't think it has been asked.
Well, I mean, Folkes is injured, and
Yep. We still don't quite understand why Bairstow's doing it if he is going to be batting number 3.
Suspicions of a ginger sulk.
And also, I do believe that Butler is a better keeper.
Yeah, as do I.
And also, he's not very good in the slips, is he? Obviously, Butler.
No, he's taken a couple. He dropped a relatively simple catch.
He dropped 2.
It does happen.
Armchair Cricket Podcast says, a change in Guerrilla Cricket comms team brings about a wicket. Have you considered doing this more often, which we will actually be doing very shortly?
Yeah, it did. Immediately we sat down, a wicket was taken, wasn't it?
He also goes on, or she, I'm not sure who Armchair Cricket Podcast is, shout out all the same, goes on to say, indeed, I think this is in response to what Nakul was saying, maybe it's time for Bravo to pick up the scoring a little, with now he's got the tail for company.
I wasn't saying he should. I was wondering if he would.
Wonder if he would, yeah. I think he will now.
I don't know. I think once Shannon Gabriel comes in, maybe.
Well, you think he's still hang around with Anzari?
I think
Alzari can block.
Yeah, he showed that in the last innings, and I think that you would have a bit of faith. West Indies are 1-0 up in the series. They don't need to force the issue.
No, and we're only day 3.
Yeah,
aren't we?
we're just about halfway through day 3. We will have a change, I think. We'll drag in. We may as well have a 3-person change. Actually, we'll drag in Daniel. We'll drag in Nestle Boy, and we'll drag in Nick.
Hello.
Do you guys want to talk while I go shout?
Whilst they
shout
come
at
in,
people?
I'll just read off the tweets. Cricket in View says India have won 4 times the West Indies in the late 1960s. They won in 71, 2006, 2011 and 2016. England have only won twice in the same amount of time, and England have had more tours than India. Sanjeev Kumar says England have not won often in the West Indies. However, the West Indies have not done well against everybody else, which is my point exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Someone's repeating you.
And he goes on to say that all England bring to the West Indies is fans. And
Yes, yes, and sunburn.
thank you for the money, England. We'll take the Test Series win and the money. Goodbye.
And
We're
I'll
going to
just,
have a comms change.
Yep, and I will just play a quick jingle.
When you're wondering about the score, whether the slip is
And Alzari Joseph has just absolutely given James Anderson the business. He has lofted him down the ground for a couple of bounces for a brilliant shot. It's on a full length. He's just leant into it, caught it slightly high in the bat, the top half of the middle, I'd say, and he has held that pose.
2 + 2 is a member. Friends have gone to town, simply tweet.
James Anderson is in again to Joseph, who kicks up sharply off the pitch, and he manages to squirt it down to... Oh, we're still playing on a jingle.
Oh, sorry. Cricket. That's 1 R 2 L's.
Far away.
Alrighty, we back. Yeah, that ball just kicking up sharply. Joseph managed to squirt it down to finally. But what a glorious shot of the day. The previous delivery. Joseph obviously struggling with the passing of his mother. He looks really pensive there, though I'm sure he is focused on the task at hand. Ooh. Anderson into Bravo, who takes a drive outside the off stump across him, and he misses. Lucky not to get an edge there. How's it, guys?
All right, Sam. How are
good
you?
afternoon.
I'm here with 2 newbies. Well, sort of a newbie. Newbie for me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good.
Doing well.
Enjoying the cricket. Hopefully we'll be enjoying the rugby later on.
Yeah, come on Ireland.
Absolutely.
West Indies 296 for 8, a sizable lead in the first session of day 3 as Anderson steams into Bravo, who is on 42, and he jabs at it slightly outside the off stump off a back of a length, and that is his 200th delivery that Bravo's faced. He's really digging in here for his side.
He is.
So Chris Paul, Save With Us Hospital, says, I wonder when England's situation goes from desperate to abject. And I would suggest that it's probably there or thereabouts.
Is it desperate and abject at the moment? I don't know.
They don't really look fired up for it, do they? They don't look...
What's the pitch been doing? Because I haven't seen any of this. Is it all right?
Not misbehaving like it was in the first day, as Anderson is in, he's back of a length, and Bravo is forward and pressing forward to extra cover for no run. It's not spitting the way it was in the first day, but we've seen a couple of kick on with the seam, and there is still lateral movement if you can find that extra lacquered Duke ball seam.
There's something there still then.
So Tony Bishop said, a West Indies resurgence on the back of a potent 4-man pace attack, top-order batsman who plays a premium price on their wickets, and a world-class all-rounder as captain. We should not be surprised.
No, it's really good to see. I'm sure it's been said a million times, but I'll say it one more time. A resurgent West Indies.
Yeah, definitely.
As Bravo defends off the back foot to complete Anderson's over. He's 2 for 71 of 28. Bravo 42. Joseph 6 not out. West Indies 296 for 8. A lead of 109. What's enough here for the West Indies?
Not much more than this, I don't think. I think they'll be very happy now, really.
I think they'll probably, I'm going to say they're going to, by the end of this, they're going to be about 118 ahead.
And then what do you think England would be comfortable defending?
In this series, I have no idea what England are going to do.
Broad did say that they'd have to make at least what West Indies make in this inning. So they're judging by this, they'd have to make around 300.
Yeah, I can't see that.
It's going to be tough, isn't it?
I just can't see it. But then, you never know. There's time. There's time for England to get a draw.
So Mojo Jojo says hello.
Hello Mojo Jojo. Mojo Jojo.
Just a hello.
Just a hello.
Just
yeah.
a hello. Hey, yeah. Mojo Jojo.
Keep firing with the tweets if there's more there.
Broad steams into Joseph, and again, see, kicks off the seam, short ball, it angles into Joseph's body. He somehow managed to negotiate it, but it loops tamely up the pitch, but there is no run and no danger. See, balls like this that are kicking off the seam, he's actually quite fortunate there not to catch the leading edge with his odd wafting bat.
Yeah.
So there's still something in for the bowlers.
Yeah.
Kanan Pandey says, thank you for keeping me company on a snowy Saturday. Rennie Keita, loving the Aphex twin groove in that Alzari Joseph jingle.
Brought into Joseph, another one that angles in sharply to his body, and he wafts at it with a weird flick of his elbow, and again it loops up tamely. Tamely, is that a word? No run there.
I'm surprised to see England without a short fielder, to be honest, with the ball sticking in the pitch like this.
Yeah. You've got a bit of the Aphex twin look about you, Nick. With the ponytail.
Yeah.
The sort of, yeah.
I'll take that.
Come to daddy. Window licker and all that.
Yeah, you're right there on the no short leg. Again, he's not stationed. Is that Jennings on the field, who's at a conventional backward square leg? Oh, no.
Hang on.
Oh, that's certainly not Jennings. Who is that?
It is Jennings.
Is that Jennings with
Yeah.
the bald head?
Yeah.
Right, so he's got the helmet on now. So he
heard me.
So he will be going under the lid. Probably just in front of square, one would imagine, judging by the last two balls. Broad, and obviously Joseph with that shot against Anderson, I don't think will be sending anything in Joseph's arc. More of the same, I imagine.
So a couple of tweets here from Carlisle Collins. Bravo and Broad seem to be quite friendly. Is Bravo one of the few people who tolerates Broad?
I quite like Stuart Broad. And he is in again to Joseph. This one is full. Joseph is comfortable on his front foot and he defends it into the covers.
And he mentions that Bravo might pick up the pace if mowing comes on. It's a bit more difficult to force issue against Broad or Anderson. I think it's going to be difficult to force issue with any fast bowler on this track. You just don't know where the ball's going to bounce.
Yeah, I can't see him bringing mowing on anytime soon, so I think that's a moot point. Though you're right, it probably would be easier with the spinner. We saw Chase struggle compared to his seamers, as Broad is in again. And this one is back of a length. Joseph looks comfortable outside the off stump and he defends off the back foot, no run.
John Trevelyan is listening from Maduri in Tamil Nadu before heading up to the Wayanad for the second Lions test. Only seems like some Somerset. Biggest surprise in New Zealand in UAE.
I don't quite know what that tweet.
Yeah, fair enough. It's funny, since the short leg has come in, Broad has struggled to find that area.
I was just about to say, I'll break off.
And Broad is in again. He's looking for that area, but this is again outside the off stump. And Joseph is comfortable there, and he defends off the back foot. He's got a real, it's easy to look too much into it, but that look on the face does kind of tell a story, given the sad passing of Joseph's mom. Am I reading too much into it?
No, the guy's going through hell at the moment, isn't he? Yeah. You know. But how many times do you see that when you see something happen and they bring a fielder in and then it just
doesn't work? Yeah. Where was he before?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a ball at his body if he's going to bring the fielder in, really, hasn't he?
Quite right, as he did for the last. Let's see if he can round up the over with a well placed ball into the body. He does. And it squirts out in front of the man stationed at short leg, but that was more like it from Broad. Definitely that last ball going at least closer to the plan, but Joseph managed to get in front of square, and that is the end of the over.
Sanjeev Kumar. Australia and England have decent attendance for the tests. Even Canberra had over 15,000 people in the first 2 days. Sri Lanka and the Western Indies resemble England home tests. India disappoints.
What, in attendance figures, India?
I would presume so.
That's got to be excluding when England and Australia are in town, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't really know that much, to be honest.
I mean, over here, any test match is virtually sold out, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't matter who it is,
But I would have thought the majority of those being England fans in England.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the majority of the attendance here, I would imagine, is probably English fans as well.
Yeah, apparently so.
That's right.
I think Annie was saying it's sort of 75% English when she was in Barbados.
Which is, I think, got a lot to do with the price for the locals, comparatively.
Of course. Anderson into Bravo, who takes the outside half of his bat into a vacant point area, and he picks up a single with the front foot. Probing line and length from Anderson, as you'd expect, and Bravo doesn't look quite comfortable outside his off stump, though. 43. He is 43 of 203 deliveries, a strike rate of 21. It's been a titanic innings from Bravo.
So the GPL is open for those of you who are interested. Put a pound in, or however much you want, and try and guess how many runs are going to be scored in today's play. And
give us your fucking money.
Exactly. And you have to do it by lunch, and it's a bit of fun. Just you can win. I don't know what the pot is, but it's
a lot.
A lot, is it?
Up around £40.
Wow. I was going to say it's probably more than the National Lottery, but that's not true.
Anderson into Joseph. Ooh, a bit of a strange backward defence there from Joseph. He exposes all 4 of his stumps, but does manage to get his back down in time from a back of a length delivery from Anderson. Not out of the coach's manual, but it's effective nonetheless.
John Perry says, morning all from Tokyo. Have
Morning.
just moved house with 2 small children. The prospect of listening to you chaps at the end of the day has been the only thing keeping me from a meltdown. For which I thank you sincerely.
A house in Tokyo? Blimey, there's not many
Beat,
there.
beat that.
Yeah. Anderson into Joseph, who doesn't move his feet, and it hits him on the pads, though all 3 stumps were exposed, so no chance of a LBW there. Joseph's got a bit of a strange technique. He's just kind of keeping his feet planted where they are and hoping to waft his bat out in front to defend. It doesn't look like he's going to stick around much longer if this is going to be his approach.
Apart from the GPL, you can also give us money through Patreon. I think it's at GorillaCricket.com Patreon. And various ways. You can give us $2 a month for our undying gratitude.
Anderson again to Joseph, who again doesn't move his feet, but it's wide of his off stump, and he wafts at it and hits it into the covers and collects a hastily taken single. He moves to 7. Joseph's odd technique is working for him with the back foot, still largely untroubled.
Cherry Hinterland says, do you think the West Indies can take this form overseas?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing for all international teams at the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know what form England have brought to the West Indies at the moment. Also on Patreon, you can give us $10 a month and you'll get a regular shout-out, or £20 a year and you get exclusive access to the archive, which has got everything we've ever said.
Anderson to Bravo is short on the hips. Bravo can't work it into the gap, and he hits it straight to the man at backward square leg, no run.
And you get all our jingles as well, which are brilliant.
And Matt Searle has said, is it desperate and abject? Yes, it is. The last time England won after conceding 100 in the West Indies was in 1968 when they declared twice.
Wow.
Can't see this side matching that success.
1968, was it?
That's correct, yes.
Oh, well done. That's a hell of a stat. Beg your pardon, Anderson into Bravo, angling across him, but doesn't quite get enough on the angle, and it's hitting around the top of off stump. Bravo defends it into the covers, no run. That's the end of the over. West Indies 298 for 8. They lead by 111 runs. Dire and abject, I think, are the 2 words that have been knocking about for England, and it's certainly looking that way as they face a mountain here in the second test.
I was 6 when that happened. I don't remember it.
You weren't tuning in?
I wasn't conscious, probably. I was probably more interested in Cowboys and Thunderbirds or something.
And we got a change of bowling.
Wow. We have indeed, and it's the one that really makes me cringe.
Ben?
It's all right.
Ben Stokes.
And we've got a little plug here from Melia, who says, Cricket Without Boundaries does incredible work. And I know Cricket Without Boundaries, and I will agree with that. At CWB Global.
Were they on yesterday?
No, that's a slightly different charity, and that Cricket Without Boundaries does work in kind of Central Africa and Uganda and places like that.
Good on them. Give them money.
Yeah, definitely.
And stuff.
Stokes into Joseph. It's back of a length, and he finds the outside edge, and I think that has been caught. Who is that at third
Rory
slip
Burns,
there?
I think.
Rory Burns has held onto one, angled in, straightened off the seam. Joseph again not moving his feet and just dangling his bat out there. This time it does catch the outside edge, and Stokes' golden arm gets the breakthrough.
Well.
And as he walks off, Abhishek, fan of Rog, just says Nestlers, 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 with 3 love heart eye emojis.
Abhishek, how are you, mate? I hope all's well in India.
Lou Britton-Sack says, morning from a wet Sacramento. Yes, it does rain in California.
Wow. Well, it does. Have floods there and stuff.
Jeff Perkins
No fires,
says,
hopefully.
"Is it true that the pound drops 0.5% in value every time the GPL pays out?"
Yeah, that is.
Well, I think that the pound's doing its own damage without the GPL pinning any interest rates to itself.
We're doing our own damage on it at the moment. We're quite happy with that.
So, Enter, you won't be harming the national currency.
No more than
no more than it's harming itself, as you say. Yeah.
So please do play the GPL with it. It's safe in the worry that
while the pound still has value.
Yeah.
Was the only way we're going to be able to eat after March the 29th, apparently.
What is the GPL?
Yeah.
That and the little green tokens from Waitrose.
You haven't started stockpiling it, have you?
No, but someone on here has. And we have a new batsman. If I was able to read, I would. Now, it's funny, whenever there is a new batsman, I can never find.
There he is.
Do you know who's playing? No, who is that playing? Why, it's Gabriel playing. Gabriel saying.
And I beg your pardon, Gabriel's welcomed to the crease by Ben Stokes, who digs one in short and sends one over his left shoulder. The wicket of Joseph, just a good line of length, really, holding its seam.
Good catch.
Good catch, yeah. It's at Burns at third slip, diving low to his right, grabs it just before it hits the deck.
I do wonder if they've been practicing some of those kind of overnight this morning, because there was a few in that area that went down yesterday.
There was 3 or 4 drop catches. Stokes into Gabriel, who doesn't move his feet but does manage to defend it to a forward short leg. He's rolling his eyes, Gabriel. I'm not sure. He doesn't really want to be there, it seems. That's not really the face of a man who's keen on a long stay at the crease.
It's like me when I used to play Sunday cricket. I was like, oh, I just don't want to be here batting.
It just looks like the most unenthused batsman I've ever seen.
Yeah. You know, why do
He'll be keen to get out there and bowl, I reckon. But he has to face up to Stokes, who charges in and lands another short ball. Gabriel is a bit more comfortable this time. Again defends it to the man at forward short leg. Again wears a face of complete disdain and boredom.
Just get out, mate, if you don't like it.
Just tread on your stumps.
You know, we won't mind. But I'm sure his partner, though, is wishing him to stay there.
Yeah, it'll be exciting if Bravo can keep the strike again. See how he bats with this last wicket. Stokes into Gabriel, who is not out in 0. Ooh, that's a rising bouncer, but Gabriel is comfortable to duck underneath it. Despite his very, very large frame, he's looks a bit more interested now. I think that's woken him up a little bit.
Call that a bouncer.
Des says, in terms of series upsets, can't think of a bigger one if they pull it off. In terms of one-offs, let's not forget the mighty Herefordshire beating Middlesex in 2001.
I mean, who can forget that?
Well, yeah, we've been talking about it all morning.
Non-stop. TV on Sky showing a bit of replay between these two, batsman and bowler, having a bit of argies when Stokes had bat in hand. He is full to Gabriel and he sees out the over with a comfortable forward defensive. West Indies 1 wicket to go before they are bowled out. They are 298 for 9 off 128 overs. They lead by 111.
And the Barmy Army do look abject, don't they?
Abject and dire.
Yeah, but I mean, they're out there.
They need some rum in their bellies.
I wouldn't be abject.
There's worse places to be, isn't there?
Yeah, if you're going to watch your team lose, you want to be in the West Indies, don't you?
Yeah. Good Lord.
A lot of folded arms, though, in this picture.
Miserable, pasty-faced bastards.
Putting your best forward here.
You know.
England at England's finest. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Derek Willis says, as a West Indies fan, I'm having lunch soon with my namesake, who is an England fan. What's the appropriate level of celebrating I can engage in?
Look, teams have won from this position. England are certainly not out of it yet. They've definitely got the batsmen that are capable of digging them out of the hole. It's a big hole, granted, and I don't think England are going to win it, but it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility if they do. Oh, it shows what I know, because we have a bowling change.
Mowing.
It is this man again, if I can see.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
The man
himself. Who is into Bravo. Forward ball, beg your pardon, a full ball, and Bravo is forward and defending this safely no run.
Do you think this is just a tactic to try and get Bravo to hit out a little bit?
Yeah, just give him one above his eye line and see if he may. I mean, he may as well go for it, and he's got the arm power to send it beyond the ropes. Moen, and he does toss this one up, but Bravo's restrained.
Not
and
having
bats
it, is
it.
he?
No, he bats it into the covers, no run.
Good man.
Could be a bit of fun, this. And I don't think Gabriel will stick around either. I think Gabriel will also give it a go.
If he faces Moen.
If he faces it, yeah. Moen again, slightly flatter. A bit of air, but he gets that nice dip, Moen. Nice natural dip, and it's just easily defended into the leg side. I think this next ball we're going to see this one tossed up.
PJ Mead has been snoozing. It says time to make coffee ahead of the England innings.
Well, it could be coming quite shortly. Let's see what Moen does here. Short and wide, and Bravo bats it away into the covers. There's a man riding the boundary, but they do not take the run, so Bravo will keep the strike.
Ravinair thinks that the pound drops 0.5% every time the GPL pays out. It drops at 0.42396 runs per over.
I don't know how many entrants we've got for the GPL, but you've still got time, folks. Get your bets in.
There's not a man saving a single on this entire field. If they are not stationed at first slip or forward short leg, they are all on the boundary. So it'll be interesting to see what Bravo does here. He's got 2 balls to either retain the strike or he may as well just go for it. And Moen is in, tosses it up, and he's down the track, and he does hammer it. Oh, it's a great shot. He's found the fence with 1 bounce.
In fact, yes, I've got 4.
Was that 6?
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was 4. No, it's
signaled 6.
It's gone the distance.
Didn't look like a 6 at all, did it?
Ravi suggests that a appropriate level of celebration would be to run around in circles making jazz hands and chanting "loser, loser."
Well, that would be appropriate. It's a great shot from Bravo. He's come down the track, and I thought that bounced once, but he has cleared the ropes and he's moved to 49. Moen again, and he looks for the single on the walk, but there now is a man at short extra cover and there's no run, so Gabriel will keep the strike for this next over. The West Indies have passed 300. They are 304 for 9 with a lead of now 117.
What did you say the lead was going to be? 180?
120 odd, didn't I?
Yeah, 118 you said.
180?
118.
Oh, 118.
So one more run and you got a spot on. Hope you put some money down.
No.
Well,
no, this I don't know, these two could stick around a bit more. Just rub it in. But you got to fancy that Stokesy's going to get have a nibble at Gabriel, don't you?
Yeah, this will be an interesting battle. Stokes and Gabriel. I think this has been a bit of a running exchange throughout this series. They seem to get along, but 2 fierce competitors. I mean, Ben Stokes is certainly one of the fierce competitors. He's probably my favourite Englishman on the field. As a South African fan, I've always liked Ben Stokes. I just like how he goes about his business. I love that he just desperately wants to win every encounter that he's engaged in.
Oh, he's one of those kind of first names on the team sheets, in my view. If he's fit, if he's not maybe in front of the judge.
Maybe in world cricket, apart from the obvious Virat Kohli. But if you were going to select a team, he's a guy you build it around. He's in now to Gabriel, who is yet to get off the mark, angled into the body. But Gabriel watched it go down to the leg side, and Bairstow shows off by taking it with one hand.
He'd be in your world 11, would he?
As the all-rounder, I think so.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to put an Englishman in the all-rounder, he is certainly the world's leading all-rounder. He can just take a game away from you with both bat and ball.
Yeah. Not as consistent as some have been, but when he's on form.
He's into Gabriel now, an attacking field.
This one is. How did that do?
Short, but just dies on the pitch, and Stokes apologises. I'm not sure what he's got to apologise for. It's entirely the pitcher's fault. A short ball. Gabriel was in a good position to defend that, but it just completely died after bouncing, and
he was lucky that didn't hit the stumps.
Yeah, or trap him on the pads. It's a complete half tracker, and Gabriel is back defending it. Kept his shape. He didn't square himself up, but it loops quite tamely in the end, and Gabriel is right to quiz at the pitch. Stokes is in again. This is full, and Gabriel defends it away off his stumps into mid-wicket, no run.
This is a good battle.
It's frustrating when you think you should be able to get the guy out because he's not very good. I mean, that's the frustration of the bowler, isn't it?
They're showing a replay of
Chase yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's a
getting
similar ball.
Getting bowled by Broad. I mean, it's up and down still, this pitch. It won't be easy to bat on, but it has lost a bit of its juice that it showed in the first day. Stokeston again to Gabriel. Another short ball outside the off stump. Gabriel is happy to bat that away into cover. No run.
Well, there's a kind of a light patch right in the middle of the wicket. Is that seemed to be the area where both those balls bounced.
And I wonder it's a very short length.
Yeah, and I wonder if that is a problem area. That whole what was there before? It looks almost like they've repaired it.
You can't play it if it's going to bounce that low off a length like that, can you?
You don't know what it's going to do you? You know. I'd go for that spot constantly if I was them.
The good thing for the batsman is it is a very short length. If you can see it, you can spot it in time. Stokes again. Oh, this one's a bit of a Yorker. Gabriel is happy to play. It's a good strategy there to try and dart in the Yorker, but Gabriel is equal to it and he defends it back to the bowler. No run.
Quick as well. 1-4-3.
It's almost a full bunger, that one. But yeah, that's interesting. That patch. I wonder what that patch was.
And it's the one thing all batsmen say that they just do not want in a pitch is that variable bounce.
No. But as people watching, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes for good viewing.
Yeah.
Stokes then to complete his ball. He's over, and it's a back of a link ball. This one does bounce as you would expect, and Gabriel scowls at it as he defends it off the back foot. No run.
Seagrave Sav says, at 4:45 I'll be torn between watching the cricket or the rugby, where my adopted nation hosts my terra mater. Will of course keep you tuned into your output, whatever lights my telescreen. Do you think our batsmen can get this game closed before the rugby starts?
Do we think that the English batsman can do what?
No.
Whatever that question was, it's a strong no. Yeah, we're going to be drawing the short straws, I think, to see who's on commentary duty. I'd love to see some of that rugby match. Come on, Ireland. I mean, this is I know we're a cricket show, but this is a really exciting Six Nations. I'm as a neutral, as someone who doesn't really care for Northern Hemisphere rugby and who sees it as a poor imitation of what goes on in the South. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Oh, that must be unfortunate as a South African then to be third best.
Third best. Ooh, I think we're about fifth or sixth now.
In the Southern Hemisphere.
Oh right. Moeen Ali into Bravo, who's on 49. He's done really well here. 49, 212 deliveries. He's on the forward defence. No run.
And I think if he does get to his 50, he'll be the only West Indian batsman to do so.
That's right. That's right. Brathwaite went out on 49.
So that's a good mockers, really, isn't it?
Moeen tosses it up. Bravo pushes forward and then goes back and wisely lets it go to the keeper. Just really smart batting. Bravo is the type of batsman who the names you just big sixes, aggressive stroke play. But this has been a wonderful innings and it's really held this West Indies cause together. Moeen is back of a length and he wafts at one that turns away from him but keeps it down, so the man at first slip has no chance of catching it, but does prevent the run.
Nearly commentator's curse there. Of course, our very own Roger Pineapple, I think, is over in Ireland somewhere. I'm not sure if he's at the game.
Moeen into Bravo. Short. Bravo works it into the onside and will collect a well-deserved 50. They turn the option of a second down, but that is just a brilliant innings from Dwayne Bravo.
Now, for my prediction to come correct,
Darren Bravo. Sorry.
Gabriel needs to get out now. And then I will
118.
Yeah, 118.
At 50. That'll do.
But yeah, I don't know where Roger is. I think he posted a picture on Twitter yesterday.
Slowest 50 by a Windies batsman in tests.
Well, 215 balls faced. I mean,
I think he's up in Belfast.
Roger.
I might be wrong.
Yep.
2 4s, 1 6, a strike rate of 23.3. He's been at the crease for 340 minutes. Bravo for his 50 runs off 215 balls. It has been an absolute titanic innings. And that is why West Indies have a lead of 118 now and in such a great position.
Boycott will be salivating over it.
He will, won't he? Well, he has a chance to clean it up. They've got an attacking field. There's a man at slip, there's a man at leg slip, and there's a man at forward short leg with a man catching in the covers. Moeen into Gabriel. He's got 2 balls here. And he's tossed it up, and Gabriel has swatted it down to the man at long on. I don't think
they've taken the
they have taken the single. So Gabriel is off the mark. The West Indies now 306 for 9. There goes your prediction.
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm useless. I don't know what I'm talking about. But then again, you all know that.
Oliver, we're going to be having a...
Getting the red light.
We got the girls coming in with Knuckle.
Yeah, funny that.
That's is the
last ball over from Owen, and that's the end of the innings. Bravo has charged down his crease and has completely been beaten in the flight. It turns away from his forward defence, and Moen picks up his third wicket. The West Indies are bowled out for 306. That is a lead of 119. Bravo's first rash shot of the innings, and he is out for 50.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Yeah.
Just a rush of blood. I think he's after working so hard to get to this milestone, his brain has gone for a walk, as indeed has his feet, and he has wandered out of his crease, missed one ball that has turned away from him, and Beso does the business behind the stumps. Are we going to change? Are we going to... Yeah, we got Knuckle here to see you out and talk you through to the start of the English innings.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I think also Shannon Gabriel at the other end puts a little bit of pressure on you because you know you're not going to have too much longer to survive. But a hell of an innings by Darren Bravo, 50 off 216 balls. We just had a little flash on screen. That's the slowest 50 by a West Indian in male Test history. It's a hell of an effort from Darren Bravo in very tricky conditions, and he has contributed majorly to the West Indies getting to this score of 306, a lead of 119. It's not a decisive lead by any means, but it is one that England are going to have to work hard to overcome with enough of a deficit to give them a chance of squaring the series. So Craig Brathwaite went for 49, John Campbell 47, Shai Hope 44, Darren Bravo we saw there for 50, Chase got a cover for 4, Hetmeyer 21, Dowrich 31, Holder 22, Roach 6, Alzari Joseph in incredibly difficult personal circumstances, having, if you're just joining us, his mother passed away. We understand that his mother had been ill for some time, for 7, and then Shannon Gabriel 1 not out, 2 for 73 for James Anderson, 3 for 53 for Stuart Broad, 2 for 58 for Ben Stokes, none for 38 for Sam Curran, 3 for 62 for Moeen Ali, and Joe Denley on debut just the 1 run from his 1 over. There were 24 extras, most of which were byes and leg byes, the West Indies all out for 306 in reply to England's 187. So England will have sort of 15 minutes or so to survive through to lunch, and I think they probably won't care what the score is as long as they're none down.
No, one thing I was thinking when I was looking at that was Denley, who was brought in partly for his bowling, maybe bowls 1 over.
Come on, I don't buy that he was brought in for his bowling. That's loads of people have been saying that. I'm not trying to at you about that, but why would you bring somebody in for his bowling as an opening batsman when the problem is the batting and not the depth and the bowling?
And you've got 3 specialist spinners
and
in the
you've
squad.
got 3 specialist spinners in the squad. But everybody's been saying that. Yeah.
And that's the justification of bringing him in some ways. That people have.
The man has not batted as an opener in, 4 years?
Yeah, so there have been 12 England openers since Rory Burns last opened in first-class cricket. 5 of the current squad, including Jack Leach, have opened the batting since Rory Burns last opened, and that was a game against... He wasn't even at his current county then, it was for Middlesex. Against Surrey back in, I think, 2014 or whatever it was.
He's Kent, isn't he?
He's since moved to Kent, but he's got a job to do now with Rory Burns to with the makeup of England's team, with the stroke players. If they both bat 70, 80 balls, if they can both bat, if England are none down after 20 overs or so, make the West Indian bowlers come back for 20, 30 overs. It will make the West Indian bowlers come back for second and third spells.
Yep.
That is of value. The bowls faced are almost as important as the runs. We're not even halfway through this Test match yet.
Yep, the Windies have definitely shown that it's possible to hang about, and
you've got Mashal said it perfectly. If you get beaten on your outside edge, fine, you're still in. It's hard to do. You have to. Virat Kohli was saying not that long ago about playing with a Duke's ball. Get your ego out of the way. It's so much harder to do than it is to say, because these are professional athletes and they have titanic self-delusional egos. They have to get there, but then it stops helping you once you get there.
Yeah, completely.
I'm Knuckle and Pandy taking you through ball by ball, or indeed wibble by wibble to the lunch break. I'm joined by Annie Chafe.
Hello, Knuckle.
And by Taz.
Hey guys.
What do the Twitter sphere make of the last few minutes?
Adam Stockwins tweeted in and said, "I've had a vision. England to declare tomorrow an hour before stumps with a 400 lead." Drums along the Zambezi has suggested to @57Deacon that he could always try guerrilla cricket.
Yes,
for
you
some,
can.
For some good ball-by-ball columns.
Oh, Andy Nash.
Who's Andy Nash?
That
No, I mean
57
Deacon, is
yeah.
it? Well, I presume not. Oh, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Sorry,
Andy
my
Nash,
bad.
Andy Nash, I know, has been
Somerset.
listening.
The former CEO of Somerset County
He
Cricket
has
Club.
been listening.
Hello, Andy. If you are out there, and hello to any other former county chief execs who are out there listening.
PJ Me tweets in and says, "Must have been an hour's snooze. It could take many coffees to wake me up." Seagrave Saab says, "At 4:45, I'll be torn between watching the cricket or the rugby where my adopted nation hosts my terra mater. I will, of course, keep tuned to your output, whatever lights my telescreen."
Yes, the rugby, of course. Wales beat France yesterday, is that right?
Do you think our batsmen can get this game closed before the rugby starts?
Well, given that most of that is going to be the lunch break.
Probably not. Derek Willis joins us and says, "As a Windies fan, I'm having lunch soon with my namesake, who is an England fan. What is the appropriate level of celebrating I can engage in?"
Just rub his face.
Go nuts, Derek. Enjoy it.
I think a lot of it will be predicated on the last test, because obviously that was an absolute crushing that England took. Well, the West Indies administered to England in Barbados. I don't think the West Indies can be popping champagne corks just yet, but it is a sizable lead, 119 on a very tricky pitch. With obviously the West Indies have a very good bowling attack, and they'll be fired up certainly for the next 15 overs. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, how many of their bowlers they use. Will Roach and Gabriel go straight through to lunch, or will they give Holder, and will Holder give himself and Alzari Joseph a go?
Yeah.
I don't want to focus on this too much because it's, but just watching Alzari Joseph today is going to be very, very.
It's going to be really tough for him.
It's going to be very tough for him, but it can go one of two ways. It can be either, it can either be distracting, or it can be the sort of thing where you're just happy to block it out for a little while. I'm sure it hasn't sunk in yet. I think it might even have been this morning that he got the news.
Yeah.
Let me hit up a tweet just because of what we just talked about. Cricketing View says, "Reading facial cues is dubious. Please leave the man alone. The cricket is quite good right now. I suggest that it does not require embellishment with references to human interest stories, especially maybe human misery, I guess."
Yeah, I think that...
It's sad. It's a fair point.
I think that's absolutely true, and we should stop pop psychologizing, particularly from several thousand miles away.
Matt Searle says, "Never doubt the ability of England's batsmen. Of course we can have this match all over before the rugby starts."
But I'm not even sure there is physically time for 10 wickets to fall before lunch.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, highly unlikely probably, but it's good to joke about it nevertheless, right?
Yeah. Well, we got 77 all out, didn't we? We could
yeah, but
it
wasn't in 15 minutes.
No, that's fair enough.
Ling Mao joins us with some stats about the slowest 50s in test matches, according to minutes which have been batted. 357 Trevor Bailey versus Australia in Brisbane. 350 Chris Tavar versus Pakistan at Lords. 340 Darren Bravo versus England at North Sound.
Oh wow!
Which was only 2018-19.
Yeah.
Wow, that was indeed just now.
Is it 2018/19?
Yes.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
What year are we in? What decade? What century?
So we think that this may be the slowest, the third slowest 50 of all time. The slowest since Tavares in the 70s, was that?
No, Trevor Bailey. Well, yes. Sorry. Yeah, slowest since then.
Yeah, and the slowest by a West Indian.
The slowest by a West Indian, absolutely. And 333 Brian Young versus South Africa at Durban in 94-95. And 326 Sunil Gavaskar versus Sri Lanka in Colombo in 85. Thank you for that, Ling.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Yeah, the record to tumbling between holders innings, the Holder-Dowrich partnership, Kemar Roach with his efforts in the first innings, Roston Chase with his innings in the second innings. I think that's the... Oh no, that's the heavy roller, I think, with the mechanised one rather than the sort of the push me, pull you one that we saw earlier. England's openers have come out to the middle, sporting those black armbands, of course, for the sad passing of Alzari Joseph's mother, but they've got other things on their mind now. Joe Denley, we hope, has forgotten, or one hopes has forgotten about his injudicious shot in the first innings, and Rory Burns, who looked quite good in the second innings in Barbados, comes out to join him. We'll jingle up the England openers now.
He's got the drive of a champion from Surrey. His mustache is ugly, got a shot finally, and his name is Rory Burns.
And he will be bowled out by...
Joe Denley, he's almost as old as this theme song, but Chef is gone and we need someone to bat at the top of the order. Joe Denley, he's also a part-time bowler. He can do leg spin, but he's no Ravi Ashwin. He'll need help from the heavy roller. Joe Denley, Joe Denley.
Will not be on strike. It's Rory Burns facing up to Aziyad unnamed bowler. He's round the wicket, and it starts with an absolute pie down the leg side, which Shane Dowrich has absolutely no hope of getting to, and England's first innings starts with 5 wides. It was absolutely sprayed down the leg side from the skiddy little Bajan, as Annie wrestles with the thingamabob.
Wide.
Times 5. Yeah, quite rightly given wides, because that would have been incredibly harsh on Dowrich to have that down as buys. He was never getting anywhere near that. We'll jingle up the West Indian bowler after his first legitimate delivery of the innings. 3 slips on the short leg. It's back of a length, and Burns on the back foot, just dropping it into the leg side, and there is no run.
He ain't no dope, he ain't no weed. That Kemar Roach, he deals in speed.
There goes Kemar Roach.
Yes, indeed, heroic in the first innings in Barbados. 5 for 11 he took, with troubling the England batsman with his relentless accuracy and skiddy pace. This one wobbles around all over the place after passing the outside edge of Rory Burns, and Dowrich does well to concentrate and cling on. In truth, it was really nowhere near Rory Burns' outside edge. He just plays comfortably inside the line, and there is no run.
This is what Jonathan Liu was saying in his article, that Roach has just been learning how to play lots of different ways of to bowling different people all the time, and instead of using his pace.
As he's round the wicket, so there's 3 slips and a short leg, a beautiful delivery, which is very well played actually by Rory Burns. A bouncer which sat up and kept swinging in towards Rory Burns, who sways his head out of the line, watched it all the way. Well bowled, well played, no run. That was a vicious delivery from Roach, who, despite not being tall, does have that bouncer which just skids through, and I guess actually not being tall helps him in that regard, because there's no danger of that just sailing over a batter's head, and Rory Burns sniffed the leather as it flew past him. That's got the old fellas up on their seats.
Yes, look at them, they're all intent.
In comes Roach, left alone outside off stump, left both on line and length. A little bit of a fumble by Dowrich, as again it wobbles after passing the batter. They're through to the keeper. There is no run. But yeah, Roach is quick certainly, but he's not the express pace that he may well have been.
He's lost the pace, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, he's quick enough. He's very accurate. He moves the ball both ways. He's got that little bit of a skiddy short ball. Even when he's bowling sort of back of a length, it's onto the batters quicker than they think it will be.
But he's about 30 now, is that right?
Yeah, a little bit older than that, maybe. It's been around for a little while.
21 when he was pace bowling.
Well, when he was at his quickest, sort of early 20s. Rory Burns just plays this from the crease into the leg side, and he picks up a single. The first runs off the bat for England. That brings on to strike Joe Denley for the last ball of the over. But yeah, he's learned, and he's someone who can be a threat. Even still, even though he's not
the lightning pace.
Yeah, but you know, he's certainly quick enough, and he gets the ball to, despite being not particularly tall, he gets the ball to bounce awkwardly from a length.
Especially on this pitch.
Well, I mean, he did it in Barbados.
Yes,
the one particularly, I'm thinking of the one that got Johnny Bairstow, the one that bounced up into his elbow, then down onto the stumps. Rochin, last ball of the over, is fired down leg, and Dowrich does really well, given that got to him on about the fourth bounce. Roach just the radar misfiring a little bit, and a reasonably comfortable first over of the reply.
Because we're bigging him up
by England. They are 6 for no loss. Taz?
Well, Jane joins us. Hi, Jane, and says, not finding Kalazira in the shop. Please send help. She's making chili paneer, which Kalazira, P.S., is black cumin.
Oh.
And she's in Florida, so I imagine some specialist shops are where she needs to head to.
Yeah, I know Jane's got quite a lot. I think there's quite a lot of Indian food shops in her vicinity, but yeah.
In her region, yeah.
Chili paneer with Kalajira is
Cricketing Knuckles getting hungry. Cricketing View joins us and says, slowest by minutes is difficult to assess given that the over rates in the 50s and 60s tended to be better than they are today. So a 6-hour 100 back in the day would be spread out over 105 overs rather than 85 to 90 now. Excellent point.
Sure.
I'm going to jingle up our new bowler.
It is indeed the big man himself.
Do you know who's playing? No, who is that playing? Why, it's Gabriel, Gabriel playing. Gabriel saying, will you be ready to go?
This one just sticks in the pitch from Shannon Gabriel, and Burns just a little bit early on it, pops it up through where sort of, well, very short mid-wicket, silly mid-wicket on Hayden would have been. There is a short leg in place, but he's quite square. Burns gets away with one there. There is no run. It must be very tricky when from Shannon Gabriel when a ball doesn't get onto you as quick as you expect it to, because you're playing to give yourself as much time as possible, and then you just have to check yourself a little bit.
Yeah, what height is Gabriel?
Gabriel must be 6'5", 6'6", yeah, something like that, maybe even a
Mm.
little taller.
I wonder why this is one of my main skills in life, just looking at a fella and knowing what height he is.
There's the bouncer, and from a taller man, it does indeed go miles over the head of Rory Burns. That must be close to a wide. He ducked under it. I don't think he really had to be honest. Well taken by Shane Dowrich, who's getting a working over, or a hell of a workout even in these first 7 or 8 balls.
So you can just look at a man and know his height straight away.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It really is.
Yeah, Shannon Gabriel, a very tall man, not quite as tall as Jason Holder, and built like the side of a house.
Gosh,
Yeah,
yes,
really.
he's huge, isn't he?
Yeah. Annie, I need to show you a photo when we're both off comms of me and Mohammed Irfan standing together.
Now that will be
How
interesting.
did you and Mohammed Irfan fit into the same photo?
Good photography.
Another beautiful bouncer by Shannon Gabriel. This time Burns couldn't get out of the way. The mean scowl of Shannon Gabriel, looking like George Foreman in his prime. And Rory Burns did quite well to just sort of flail this away into a safe gap and hurry up the other end, which I think might be the best place to play Shannon Gabriel from at the moment.
How far did you reach up him then?
You know what's really terrifying? From a photography standpoint, it looked like the height difference between us was the same as the height difference between DJ Bravo and him. There's this weird perspective thing where, Ahmed Reza of the UAE was probably the only guy who looked like they fit in the same frame. He's about 6'5" as well.
Right, okay.
3 slips, a gully, a backward point, mid off, quite wide, a mid on, up and wide. We've got a short leg in place, and I think probably one man back on the hook at long leg. This is left alone outside off stump, an easy leave for Joe Denley. There is no run.
Who's short leg then?
Who was it in the first innings? I can't remember actually who it was in the first innings. Tradition would say it would be the new boy John Campbell, but I don't think it is. We'll try and isolate that for you, who that might be. It might be Craig Brathwaite, actually.
He seemed to be kneeling on the ground, or did I?
Let me take another look, see, because probably could tell from the height.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
I mean, he's getting super low, of course.
it's not Craig.
This is outside off stump and pushed into the offside by Denley from the crease. There is no run. He's actually set back a little bit and not wearing the helmet. He's in the the sort of James Taylor position set back a little bit, I guess, with the extra pace and bounce that Gabriel might be able to generate. Yeah, we're seeing that bouncer a couple of balls ago that Burns played well enough, I guess, but he was a little bit lucky that went fine as it did.
I see some more injuries at this rate, aren't we?
Could well do, yeah. The old one was just taking a little bit out of the top. Last ball of Shannon Gabriel's first over of this West Indies third innings. If you're just joining us, the West Indies bowled out for 306 and secured a lead of 119. That's fired down the leg side. Denley rather has a little nibble at it, but doesn't get near it. Nicely taken again on the hop by Shane Darrich, whose keeping has been tidy and has had to be in these first 2 overs. England 7 for no loss, trail by 112.
Tweets? Shall we tweet? We've got Matt Searle joining us, who is super amused by my mispronunciation of Chris Tavare as Tavare. Matt, let me give you some post-colonial relations advice here. If you can pronounce my name correctly, like actually correctly, then I will give you my life savings.
All of them?
All of them. All of them.
All of the names?
All of my names. You know what? Even if it's just my first name. Even if it's just my first name. But anyway, let's move on from me getting my racial arms up. We've got a tweet from Armchair Cricket Podcast who says, never expected D Bravo in the same list as Barnacle Bailey or Tavare when it comes to the speed of scoring. England now into the fray.
Roach in, nicely played by Rory Burns. He does play that sort of square drive on bended knee quite well. I think he's probably happier when it's a little back of a length.
Yeah, looked very comfortable.
But straight to backward point, and there is no run. In the second innings in Barbados, he played that shot quite well, and also when the ball was a little bit shorter, he was going deliberately up and over backward point, being very committed to the shot. We talked about Joe Denley's sort of hopeful poke outside off stump that got him dismissed in the first innings, but if you go at it hard, it increases your margin for error considerably.
What did he end up getting in the second innings? It was 70?
Yeah, I'll look that up in a second. That's way too wide of off stump to be troubling Rory Burns, and he just lets it through to the keeper. Dowrich just skips across in front of first slip, and there is no run.
Yeah, he needs to keep thinking about that innings.
I would be saying that he shouldn't be thinking at all. Thinking is the enemy.
Thinking is bad.
Thinking is the demon.
Thinking is the enemy for batting. Rory Burns made 84.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, it's a little bit more than I remember.
Yeah, it's his highest score in Test cricket to date. I think just his second 50. Yes, he made 150 in Sri Lanka.
Let's face it, he hasn't played a lot of Test cricket.
Roach in round the wicket. Burns is very comfortable on his legs, and even though that was on middle stump, he just whipped it round the corner to Alzari Joseph at long leg, who flings the ball back in, and Burns picks up another single, moves to 3. Denley onto strike, yet to get off the mark in this his second innings with the bat in Test cricket.
Chris TB joins and says, I think that our own Simon Gear, who is of course with Gorilla South Africa, has a photo of himself with Yao Ming, who is 5 inches taller than the massive Irfan. I want to see that photo, Simon, if you're listening, or Chris, if you can get Simon to listen.
Yeah, Yao Ming's a
tall guy.
The Chinese professional basketball player. Roach in, has that been taken at short leg? I don't think it actually hit the bat in any case. It just got popped off the thigh pad and taken low down. That's Shimron Hetmeyer at short leg.
Isn't it?
Yes, he was fielding there in the first innings. You can see you shall know him by his chain. Just off the thigh pad, which is why it didn't quite carry to Hetmeyer, who possibly got up a little too early in any case and ended up falling on top of the ball. So Denley looking a little bit nervous, as one might expect. It just needs one to be. He just needs to nurdle one away through fine leg. This he misses completely. It's a big in-swinger and it beats him on the inside edge. Kumar Dhanmasena says no to the giant appeal because I'm pretty sure that was going down leg. Not a huge amount of excitement from behind the stumps. Jason Holder is asking the question of his bowlers. I think Hetmeyer came into him from short leg and said, no, that's going down leg. Not quite sure how he can tell from short leg, but there you are. And West Indies rightly
Everyone
don't
can tell from anywhere, can't they, that it's LBW?
It did swing in considerably and ended up swinging in far too much to be of danger. I mean, that hit Denley outside leg stump, and there is a big gap between bat and pad, but I don't think Denley can be blamed particularly for missing that one, given the original line. not the hardest decision that Kumoy Dharmasena has had to make. Last ball of the over is outside off stump, and Denley just pokes this into the offside. Thoughts of a single, but is sent back by Rory Burns, and I think even Denley knew there wasn't a single there. The West Indies are almost literally sprinting between ends at the end of the over. They definitely want to get one more in before lunch, and they will probably just get one more in. So final warning for the GPL. The Gorilla prediction, we guess the number of runs that will be scored in 2 days' play. You pay £1 per guess. If you get it bang on, you win what's in the pot. We'll get that. There's another tab open on there somewhere, which I'll tell you exactly what the pot will be. I know it was £32 before the start of the day's play. If you go to the Firefox icon there, the one just down the bottom, right, that one. That one, if you go to the, I think it's one of those tabs up there, the second one possibly, the one that says competitions, right at the top there, right at the top. Up the top.
Yeah. Technology is nobody's
that
friend.
One, and then refresh it. We'll see if there's been any entries. That sort of refresh button next to the home button. We'll see if there have been.
Refresh button.
Yep. We'll see if there have been any GPL entries. But meanwhile, Shannon Gabriel steams in. There is now a leg gully in place with Rory Burns having fended one off in that direction. This one was easy enough for him to duck under. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no one. It doesn't look as though we have had any GPL entries.
I thought we had. Messi tweeted in saying that the pot had gone up.
We'll get to that. We'll give you those sort of administrative details in short order. But you have only a couple of minutes to enter the GPL.
Get your entries in.
This is almost certainly the last over before lunch. There's a Ruston Chase there under the floppy hat at Leg Gully.
Who doesn't love a good floppy
hat? Yeah.
I know you do.
I do, yeah. Mine is a little bit more of a stiff brimmed. His is a proper sort of
floppy.
His is a Sunil Gavaskar.
You play in a floppy hat, do you?
I do, yeah. The wide brimmed sun hat.
My son does too.
Does he?
Yeah, likes a good floppy hat.
We've got 3 slips and a gully. Sort of a backward point who's almost a sort of fly gully. We've got the short leg and the leg gully. Gabriel over the wicket this time to Rory Burns, who ducks under this one comfortably as well, taken by the keeper Shane Dowrich, and there is no run.
Cricketing View illustrates his earlier point about the minutes comparison and says, for instance, Len Hutton's 364 took him 847 balls and it lasted 797 minutes. So a 3 or 4 half-hour century back then would easily use up 200 plus balls.
Sure. And in some places, particularly Australia, they bowled 8 ball overs back then.
Yeah.
Good point.
But they stopped that in the 70s.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Gabriel in back of a length, and nicely played by Rory Burns. It didn't get up as much as the previous delivery, and he just worked this with reasonable comfort down to chase at leg gully, and there is no run.
Matt brings up an interesting technical point and says, in getting I'm getting, I presume, a competition closed message on the GPL. So maybe it just is too late.
Yeah, it is 4:01 p.m.
Apologies, Matt. Next time, maybe tomorrow. Jeff Perkins does an excellent impression of me and says, Taz, the 6'2" bowler drifts onto the pads of the 5'8" batsman who plays it out to the 6'1" fielder for no run.
Chase is a bit taller than that. He's probably about 6'4". Burns maybe 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, 5'9". Yeah, 5'9" and a half.
Denley maybe
at a push.
5'11" and a bit.
5'11" on the dot.
So if you did any scoring, you just put all the
just write their
players
height.
Bowler's height. As this is let harmlessly go by Rory Burns. Shannon Gabriel banging it in back of a length, and it just dribbles apologetically through to the 5'6" Shane Dowrich behind the stumps, and there is no run to guess. No idea how tall Shane Dowrich is. And Cricinfo doesn't list cricketers' heights, and frankly, Google is no help either.
Well, surely some of the cricketers will still be growing.
The odd one might be. I don't think any of this...
if you want a little medical perspective, your long bones, your plates fuse at about the age of 21, 22, depending on your hormones.
Yeah, I think
so. Little Sammy Curran could still be growing.
Little Sammy Curran could become big Sammy Curran. You never know.
Gabriel round the wicket for what is going to be the penultimate ball of the session. Still the 3 slips, the gully and the leg gully in place. Makes Rory Burns play. Bowls Fuller outside off stump. Burns in behind this one, pushing into the offside, and there is no run. I wonder if we're going to see the fielders sort of called in as by rote to surround the bat.
absolutely.
Sorry, I just got distracted giving Jane with a Y different regional translations of Kala Zira so that she can try, depending on which language from the subcontinent they use. In
black cumin seeds.
Yeah, but I'm giving her, she's at a Gujarati store and...
Sure.
Yeah.
Last ball of the, what's been an engrossing session of Test cricket yet again. Gabriel into Rory Burns, who plays this away very nicely off his hips. He'll go through for one as he works it down to long leg, and he'll end the session 4 not out. Joe Denley will end up the session 0 not out, but the crucial thing is that England have survived through to lunch with no wickets lost. They are 9 for no loss after the West Indies were bowled out for 306. They trail by 110 in the second innings, and England stuck to their task really well. Anderson and Broad bowled for well over an hour in the morning session.
They've had two long sessions, haven't they?
Two very long sessions. Ben Stokes came on and took a couple of wickets, and took a wicket with his first ball, in fact. But he and Anderson wrapped up the West Indies tail in reasonably short order. I mean, it took, or rather, for relatively little addition, because it did take a lot of work for Anderson, Broad, and Stokes to break through. Only the 43 runs scored in this session, the 4 wickets to fall, all of those of the West Indian lower order. So Jason Holder, Kemar Roach, Alzari Joseph, and Darren Bravo, who today made 50 off 216 balls, the third slowest by minutes of all time, we believe, and the slowest by a West Indian of all time in men's Test cricket.
Yeah, I mean, and it's keeping the match alive, definitely.
No, I'm certainly more than that. It was fairly. It was good work. It was certainly alive before that, but I think he pushed the lead up to 119, which, as I've been saying, I think my reading of this is different to some. It's not a decisive lead. It's not a match-defining lead, but it is a very sizable one. And England have survived these 4 overs reasonably well. Just the one little alarm where Rory Burns sort of flailed one into the leg gully region. But
and Denley seems to have a very mucky arse already. So I don't know.
Denley hasn't changed his clothes.
Wait, what?
Joe Denley sort of seems to have like tyre tracks down his front. He's been diving and sliding around. I don't know if they just haven't given him another shirt.
Yeah.
Because
maybe he only had one out.
Yeah, maybe. I do notice it doesn't have the number on it yet, so maybe it is just a bit of an emergency
kit.
Yeah, maybe from the stash. But unless we've got any more tweets. Actually, we've got a few more people on Facebook Live. We'll have the new stream for you guys for the second session. But Sanjay Nayak, Naresh Patel, Irfan Dogar, Lakshman Das Maharaj, Christopher Roshan, and Rashid Khan, no, not that one, are with us.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be very cool.
That would be cool. Tall.
On Facebook Live. We'll be back up with you on Facebook Live after lunch.
Wei Pom Pom says, we're going to be 6 down before we even get a lead. And if anyone can guess the next thing he says, I will give you a prize. It is, we're doomed. Ravi Nair says, slowest full day's batting I recall was Gavaskar reaching 98 not out at the end of the first day. Also, Graham Thorpe, I think, once spent a day not scoring as much as 100 runs once. I could be wrong, but it's maybe why I love them both as players so much.
We've actually got loads and loads of GPL entries.
That's good.
We got Neil Franklin on 166, Messi Jez on 173, 183, 193, Neil Franklin on 196, Keith, possibly if he's Welsh, 201, Messi Jez 203, 213, 223, Neil Franklin 226, Keith on 237, 238, Neil Franklin on 246, Keith on 254, Neil Franklin on 266, and maybe it's Keith the second, 322. So a big spread that you guys have gone for. This might be a hell of a pot for somebody to win, but that's us for this session. We'll go to some highlights, and we'll go back to the 5th day of the Ireland versus Pakistan Test in Malahide. We'll be back with you in about half an hour or so. Bye for now. As this machine takes quite some time to load, I will keep wibbling. Come on, iTunes, do your thing.
This wide about line.
These two would love to be there at the end. You know, they've been a crucial partnership. They've given each other a couple of chances for occasions for a couple of cuddles, and they'd like to go walk